What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Our Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series. This is Agree to Disagree. Come celebrate with us. Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't the rock night. Oh, this game can heat stink.
Oh, shit.
It's gone.
This is Agree to Disagree, only on A2D Radio. Every Sunday, we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them around the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. The best in the business, Dr. Paul Vidal. He joins us some Sundays, not with us this Sunday, but he'll be with us at some point this month. Hopefully not talking about a lot of injuries. Right? Good things, good karma here in Philadelphia. No Brian Wilson tonight. Rest in peace to his grandmother. She passed away before our show tonight. So we love the big fellow, and we're sending his family prayers. And we got Greg Milakovic, Ryan Brodo, Nick DelGozzo. I'm Tom Arnone. The family out there, welcome in. Crumb of the week, we do it at the end of every show. We'll get into that. I would love to say we'll like circle the NFL. I have no idea. Like, not even, you could tell me this or this happened, and I'll say, sure, I have no idea. Didn't watch a second of football today. Feel dirty about it. Feel a little dirty about it. So Eagles are on the bye week. And for once in 11 years, 12 years, I think it's 12 years, over that, past that, since 2009, right? Since the Eagles were possibly had a bye week and we had Phillies baseball to talk about. And here we are. We'll give you a little Astros Yankees live reaction. Obviously, Astros win tonight. They move on to the World Series, face the Phillies, or do the Yankees extend it? You almost want the Astros to end it so they get the same break we get. Right? You almost don't want them playing more baseball at this point. You know what? You guys sit down for a little bit too. So it's not just us. Even though they already had a layoff and came out and all they've done is beat the brakes off of everybody they played. So I don't think it matters for the Houston Astros. Our Phillies are 2022 World Series champions. We'll get into that. It's going to tie into our poll question. And obviously we'll go back, circle the game that just happened, circle the series just happened, because it's been exciting. It's been exciting. I can't believe we're sitting here talking about it. I literally can't believe it. Like, leading up to it, throughout the whole playoffs, like, and it still hasn't sunk in, right? It still hasn't sunk in that we're going to the World Series. I mean, this team was almost dead in September. They were almost dead in September. And we always talk about like, just get in, and it's the truth. It really is the truth. You got to be good, right? But it's the truth. Just get in, and anything can happen. And as we're seeing, anything and everything has happened. I mean, when this team looks dead, when they look done, right? When big momentum shifts happen, okay, right? We'll talk about all this, right? We'll talk about what happened in Game 4, Game 5, where the momentum shifted away from you, right? Just naturally shifted away from you in the game of baseball, and you find a way to get big hits, get big outs. It's truly amazing that we're talking about it. Our poll question leads into the World Series, but again, we're going to go back and talk about what happened in the San Diego series throughout the whole playoffs. It's going to be a Philly circle jerk tonight. So sit in, enjoy, and rub one out with us. Our poll question brought to you by Manscaped, and you get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life with Manscaped. Like I said, get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. Our poll for tonight, and we sort of know who we're playing, right? So the Philadelphia Phillies will win the World Series. Do you agree or disagree? We're going right into it, right? Not even reflect it. Right into it. Love it. And you can vote on it. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. And everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. Join the conversation. And like I said, just get it out tonight. Enjoy it. Usually we're telling you to get it out because we're angry. We're mad about something. But right now, there's nothing to be mad about. Okay, besides the Sixers starting 0-3. A little irritating. But the Phillies get us right through it. Get us right through it for right now. Listen, Houston's loaded. They're flat out loaded. And, but other teams we played have been really good too, right? It's not like we played bad baseball teams getting here. Atlanta's the defending champions. They're still pretty good, right? We were able to beat that. Padres, sort of lightning in the bottle like us, right? A little lightning in the bottle, sort of get hot at the right time. They beat the big, bad Dodgers to get here, and we're able to beat that. Now, Houston's remarkable. And their bullpen's lights out. Their starters are lights out. They hit enough, right? And they get big hits. They're sort of like us, right, in the terms of the big hit game. But their bullpen's been phenomenal, flat out phenomenal, and that's the scary part going into that series. But guess what? Who would I be to disagree? Like at this point, like who would I to bet against the Phillies? And Houston's awesome, but who would I be to bet against the Phillies from what they've done, like how they've gotten here, right? And the way they're playing baseball. And I know Houston regular season. Obviously, we know the record, right? And we know our record, okay? And it doesn't match up. But right now, you can't say the Phillies don't deserve or aren't necessarily a 100-win team, because who knows if Rob Thompson takes over day one of this season, how they play. We don't got that crystal ball. But since he took over, they're right there with all those teams. They're right there since Rob Thompson's taken over. And I disagree with moves at times like we do with managers. We question some things at times like we do with managers. But guess what? This ball club plays for him. They buy into him. And I buy into him. I think he's phenomenal. I love him, right? And so I love the guy. I think he pulls all the right buttons. Pushes all the right buttons. At times, as a manager, you're going to make some mistakes, right? Guys aren't going to get it done for you. But at the end of the day, his team bails him out too. Like last night, his team bailed him out. His lineup bailed him out. Right? We didn't love the falter at that point. Right? We didn't love the hand at that point. Definitely didn't love the hand. Okay? Definitely didn't love the hand. Right? Goes the hand. Hand gives up 2-run homer. Momentum shifts. Boom. Your guys come back and pick it right up because this team believes. So, and I'm not saying Houston doesn't believe, because they absolutely believe too. And guys there know how to win as well. But I'm gonna agree. I think we win this in 7. This is definitely 7. I said 7 in this one, and that was just, I'll be more cautious. They didn't want to get too optimistic. This is absolutely 7. And once you get there, anything can happen. But when you get this far, anything can happen as well. I mean, they're the big bad wolf per se, but they're beatable. You know what I'm saying? They're beatable. You got to go play your best baseball. If the Phillies are playing their best baseball, like they have over the last, I'm not even going to talk about the Cardinal series, right? Because it's 3 games, right? I feel like it's short. It's short, but they played their best baseball. So maybe we do count it. So those 3 series, the Phillies have played their best baseball, right? They played their best baseball. So, why can't they go there and beat them? And why, in a 7-game series? Why can't they? I don't know. So if they play their best baseball, they're right there with them. So it's what team shows up. It's a team that's been lightning in the bottle show up. If they do, I think they win the series. It's a great time to be alive. Sweeps is muted. We got Sweep muted again. Mute gate.
I think Greg is too.
Oh no, I was actually muted.
I said I didn't expect you to pick. I didn't expect you to pick against them.
No, hard to now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Everything you said was spot on. That's the beauty of baseball. That's why it's the best sport. You know what I mean? You don't have to be bigger, stronger, faster. All right, you just gotta, you gotta come up with timely hits. They got the hottest guy on the planet right now. So everybody else around them, they're getting big homers. They're not necessarily getting big hits. They're getting gigantic homers, and then sprinkled in some hits. Obviously Segura had a huge hit the other night off Musgrove. You know what I mean? But they're getting huge homers. All right, that's what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Like, this team hits the long ball. All right, so if you want to try to beat the Phillies, you got to keep them in the park. And both teams get the chance to play the bank. You know what I mean? But they thrive off the bank. Not only the fans, being a zoo and being electric. It's hitting season. That's a good place to hit. Like I said, it's the same thing people say all the time about the short Yankee, right field in Yankee Stadium. Both teams get to play there. So don't cry me a river. You know what I mean? But the Phillies are built to play at this place. They're built to play here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the final distance was. That's an absolute piss rod. I don't know if it gets out of a lot of places. It probably gets off the wall. I mean, it's in the first row. It's right, right past the flower pot. It's an absolute piss rod, right? But they're just getting monster homers. Everything. Baseball is so beautiful. You got to. It's where the intersection of luck, opportunity, and talent meet. All right, and that's where they're at right now. All right, because like you alluded to, this isn't cute. This isn't no Cinderella story, right? What makes it, because of the payroll and what they've done, they got $100 million guys here. You know what I mean? This isn't the Oakland A's. All right, so this isn't me raining on anybody's parade. This was expected, not to get to the World Series though. That's hear me out, right? Because of there's 300 win teams in the National League. This might be the story of the year, right? When I say that, them getting to the World Series, everything had a perfect storm. They're playing great, and everything else had to fall into place. Right? You expect them to make the NLCS, absolutely. Right? You expected the Dodgers to be sitting there if you're a baseball guy, and you expected Phillies. Not expected that. I'm saying you expected the Dodgers to be on the other side or the Braves. However, the seedings fell. And it just they took care of the Braves themselves. Padres took care of the Dodgers, and the Phillies absolutely, manhandled the Padres. Even though it was a 5, it wound up going 5. It was a lot closer, series than 4-1. A swing here, a swing there, and that thing turns into maybe 3-2, and they're hopping on the red eye. You know what I mean? But instead, it's champagne time, and get ready for the Astros.
So you disagree?
Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree. And I love the story, and I always want to be wrong. You know what I mean? The Astros are there's something else. And listen, how can you, to Tom's point, how can you can also say the Phillies are something else. So I agree with you. I think that the Astros they've been pillar to post. The Astros have been pillar to post. And there's something to say for that. You know what I mean? Like when everybody else got rested, everybody else wanted to use the bye excuse. All the other 3 teams wanted to use the bye excuse. All right. And the Astros said, "That we're okay. We got this." You know what I mean? Mariners, that's a cute story. We got you. You know what I mean? And then took care of these shitbirds. You know what I mean? And and setting up for a great World Series. I mean, but I think at the end, the Astros, get it done in 6.
Yeah, why this story feels like weird to us is just September. Like everything from when Rob took over up until September was beautiful. I mean, we couldn't play better baseball, right? I mean, we were playing great baseball. September hit again, and we were like, here we go, because we've dealt with it for so many Septembers, right? And we were like, here we go again. Right? They couldn't put together any winning streaks, right? They were finding ways to lose baseball games. Guys weren't hitting enough. I mean, it was the same old story. And listen, the star of this baseball team wasn't hitting at all, right? And it was a struggle. And we were like, man, are we going to miss the postseason again? And credit to these guys, they got in, right? And I don't care who lost, who Milwaukee helped them, whatever. They got in. And credit to them. Once they got in, when the lights turned on, man, you find a lot out about a lot of guys in these spots. This whole baseball team, including the first baseman, who gets smoked in this city, right? And all the guy always hit home runs when it didn't matter. I was the king of selling you that. He would hit a home run down 8-2. Cool, put the things up, right? Put them up to the thing. All this dude's done in the postseason hit gigantic home runs, gigantic, game-changing home runs, and especially after a booted ball. Like, listen, I don't want you to have to do that all the time to yourself. You know what I mean? Well, I'd rather you not do that all the time to yourself. But we talk about all the time sweeps to our guys and our kids, right? Like, you got another play to happen. There's another opportunity. So you can go 2 ways with it. You can keep worrying about the last one or go get the next one. And the credit to this guy, comes out, it's a new day, and he's hit numerous home runs, and especially, yesterday, last night, and into today. I mean, they're gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, 3 home runs in the last 2 days, and they couldn't have been more momentous, right? I mean, most of them have been getting on the board first, right? And that's so key in these series is putting the other team on on pressure, right? I mean, there's already pressure-packed situations, but now you go up, right? Now you go up on the scoreboard first. So now they're chasing. Now they're doing everything they can to chase, right? And you're absolutely right. I've killed this guy numerous times, and he's come up huge, though. He's absolutely come up huge when we needed him. And he's obviously a huge part of why we're continuing to move on. Tommy, to your point, right? I had said this in our group chat the other day. 3 Saturdays ago, just 3 Saturdays ago, this team got beaten so badly in the first game of a doubleheader to the Washington Nationals that Nick Maton closed out that game. Three Saturdays ago. Like, that's not that far away that we were thinking that this team wasn't even going to make the playoffs. And here we are now dancing.
I mean, Noel went and laid an egg late in September, and right? That was a big game, right? And so it's been, to your point, it's been a bunch of different things in September that were like, all right, same old story.
But one thing I'm gonna hang on with this series. I'm going into this series, obviously, and I think a lot of us are of complete, like, zero expectations. Do I want us to win? Absolutely. But did I think we'd even get there? No. Right? You know what I mean? Like, as we just said 3 Saturdays ago, we were ready just to start watching the Eagles. Even during the bye week, we're going to put on all 22 tape and watch the Eagles.
Well, to your credit, you had a ticket. So, I mean, I guess you did think so.
But I did have that ticket, and I have one more, right? So, obviously, I'm going to agree to poll. I've gone in 6. I do agree. I think it goes 7. But I'm going to continue to go with where I'm at. But the one thing I'm hanging on is we just played them. And I'm not saying it went good because we only won 1 out of those 2 games. But we saw a lot of their pitching for a brief moment, right? We saw their starters for 5 innings. You know, so we saw something. We were in that atmosphere. We were in that environment down there at Minute Maid Park. And these guys are cruising right now. I'm not going to pick against them, so I agree.
Well, one more thing, right? And then, right, you go. But the one other thing is that the benefit to these 5 days, and I don't love having 5 days off when you're hot like this, but the one big benefit for us, all right, when I look at us, is Sir Anthony and Alvarado could use a breather because that's our doggies, right? That's our big guns. They have plenty of other big guns. We don't have enough big guns. Okay, so those guys really can use a little 5-day break. And I think that's what gives us the edge to make this series competitive, to go 7, to force it to a 7, is those guys got to be lights out. And if they were playing in 2 days from now, I don't know, because we're all deep. Everybody's deep. Everybody's long in the season. But for Sir Anthony, it's really long coming back from what you came back from. Yeah. So 5 days is huge for him because we need him. Today doesn't matter to me. That inning, and I'm not like, I don't care. I'm out crying. That inning today never gets played at any time else. Ever gets played, ever even gets started. It was freaking, I woke up at my house. It was pouring. It was coming down. That doesn't play. Rain, a little drizzle plays. At some point, you got it. I understand it's a playoff game, but 45 minutes, because a lot of stuff can happen. Wet ball guy throwing 100. That comes right up in somebody's forehead. Yeah. Right? So a lot of different things can happen. Not just, I care that we didn't have control. They had to deal with it too. Right? I mean, they had to deal with it in the bottom of the inning, and they threw well. Okay, so I get it. But I come on, Major League Baseball, if it's other teams, I feel like you're blowing the whistle on that. Because it was bad for a second. And guess what? I'm not bitching. If we lost because of it, we lost. But the point is, I think these guys getting a breather just helps them.
And once you're in the bullpen, real quick before Ryan goes, once you're in the bullpen, then you have a delay. You know what I'm saying? Like the delay when they're starters, I get that because, if it's the 4th inning and you got a matchup, you got Wheels and Darvish battling, and then you're like, wow, man, I get 45 minutes to an hour, then these guys are burned. Once you get in the pen, just let it go, put the tarp on, let's chill out, man. I thought the same thing.
As soon as Wheeler came out
once they batted, then the Phillies had to bat. I thought before they could even think about delaying it.
Yeah, then you can't go. And as soon as they took Wheeler out of the game, just ring it right there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Bang it right there. Now, and they decide on what they're doing with Darvish. But listen, it is what it is. But these days off for our bullpen is definitely going to help us.
Before I go to the poll, shout out to Alex for the super chat. He says Harper going deep on Hector Neris would be awesome. Love the show, guys. Go Phils. Thank you, Alex.
Harper going deep on anybody would be awesome. I don't have any ill will to Hector Neris. I would like Hector Neris right now. Feel a lot better than David Robertson. I'll tell you guys that much. So but I hear you, Alex. He can go yard on all of
them. To all of your points, especially Greg, just piggybacking off what he said. I'm not picking against him. You could name any player in the history of baseball that's on Houston's side. If we're assuming it's going to be Houston. They've done far too much in this postseason to prove me wrong, to shut my mouth up, mainly starting with Rhys Hoskins and, following it off after that. for me to be like, oh, well, I don't know. And also I'm a Phillies fan. So like, as a Phillies fan, I'm not picking against them. I'm just not going to be that guy. Houston's going to be really difficult. Whoever we face is going to be really difficult because they're playing as hot as the Phillies are. That's how you get to that point. But I mean, they've given us so many opportunities, so many reasons, justified reasons to pick against them. Forget about this season. Over the last 11 seasons, ever since 2009, so more than 11 seasons. People have said the word different, like this feels different with this team. And yeah, I agree. I think we can all agree to that. But it's weird because this entire season has felt different for numerous different reasons, and not all of it's a good thing. It felt different before June 1st because you had a manager being fired. I feel like we always talk about it, the Ken Rosenthal tweet, the firing of Joe Girardi won't fix things for the Phillies. Like that gets brought up a lot, but I still think even then it's undersold. Our manager was fired. And now a few months later, not a year later, not 2 years later, a few months later, we're in a World Series.
It doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. An interim manager, somebody who had never gotten a shot before, you have your superstar, on the shelf for a few months. You have a bunch of guys. You have Alec Boehm, who I would say we all thought was going to be good this year, but we didn't know, especially after his both defensive and offensive shortcomings last year. We came into this year just being like, hey, show us you're a major league player. We didn't know how much room or how much playing time Bryson Stott would be able to play because, one, Joe Girardi was a thing still, at the beginning of the year. And you had Didi Gregorius' contract. So many different interwoven storylines, good and bad, that has led us to this point. Greg, what you said about it being 3 Saturdays ago that we faced that loss during the day against the Nationals, that blew my friggin' mind. To be like, because that felt like it was 3 years ago, not 3 Saturdays ago. Greg and I, we were both talking before we came on. Like, I don't think it's really hit me yet. And it's weird because throughout this entire postseason, I've had like this internal calmness, whether we fall down 4-0 in the game yesterday, or we fall down, a run going into the 8th inning today, and even going back against the Braves and a couple of times against the Cardinals. There wasn't any real time to panic, except for obviously game 2 in San Diego, but that's going to happen. And there's a word that's constantly being used with this team that was also used with the 2017 Eagles. And I understand it's easy. It's a lazy storyline. Oh, compare this team to the most recent championship the Phillies won. I get it. And it's annoying at times. But I'm going to do it anyway because I can. The word resiliency keeps being used with the Phillies. And Tom, you and I both know this the most because I think we use the word every 5 seconds in phone calls, group chats, and shows back then. That's the same terminology that was being used with the Eagles because of how many things they needed to overcome with the Eagles back in that season. We needed to almost times 10 with this Phillies team because there were no firings back then with the Eagles. There were some injuries and an injury to a starting quarterback. We had no idea where this team was going back in June or this organization was going. And even going to September, we all talked about how our big money guys, we didn't know if they had it in them to really, step up to the occasion per se. And they've done anything but what they've done in September. And all of them have shown up for the most part in these last 3 series. And I expect nothing more in the 4th series that we'll have on Friday.
Yeah, resilience is good. I would even say like more like redemption.
Sure.
I think it's more like a redemption tour for a lot of these guys, and starting with your star. I mean, starting with the man who leads it all, and Bryce Harper. I think it starts with Harper. Now you got to be resilient to overcome what you've overcame all year and play your best baseball without Bryce, like they did, and really go on a run. I mean that equals some resiliency there. They went without Wheels for a little bit. I mean they were without some things for here and there. A bullpen obviously early on, and that was terrible, and then had to get figured out. So, I mean, they've had a lot of like just unknowns and uncertainty. But, I mean, it starts with Bryce with the redeeming. I mean, I'll just speak for myself. I had a million question marks about Bryce Harper. Not talent. I would always say that to you guys. It was never a talent thing. Guy's super talented. I'm not an asshole. All right. I question leadership. Right. You start questioning, like when we need you, are you here? Right. Because again, in September, he hasn't been good. This one he sort of gets a pass on. I know last September he was good, right? And nobody else was. right? But then you wonder, like, okay, like, does anybody follow you? Like when you're going that hot, where if you're a leader, people will follow you too, right? And get hot with you. Listen, he silenced me in terms, not even silenced me because it's not like I didn't want the guy here. You know what I mean? It's not like when we signed him, I was mad, right? It's just, there's always been question marks back in Washington. It wasn't just by me. I mean, there's guys with inside information that would tell you there was question marks. But obviously, he's grown. We all grow up too, right? What you did at 22 ain't the same guy you are when you're 30. Let's keep that 100 too, right? But the 1-2 to win and everything else, and when the lights are this bright, I mean, I said to Atlanta right before the homer, I said he's going to hit a homer here, and this place everything might fall down. Like there might not be a stadium left. I just had a weird, and especially when he laid off the changeup. I mean, that's when you know you're going great. Yeah. I mean, that changeup is filthy, and he lays off of that. And then because he was right on the fastball. I can't believe they went back to the fastball. I can't believe they even threw him a pitch to hit. But that's a conversation for another day. Josh Hader in the pen, conversation for another day. But we'll get into crumb of the weeks later. I'm sure it'll be somebody's crumb of the week because that's egregious. It's egregious when you have arguably one of the best relievers in baseball, and he's a lefty, and the hottest guy in the world is up, and he's a lefty. I don't know. That's a little 101, right? But man, I mean, he's redeemed himself. Rhys Hoskins has redeemed himself. JT Realmuto looked like he couldn't play anymore at the beginning of this season. Looked like he couldn't play anymore. I mean, he looked that bad, and he redeemed himself. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, Bryson Stott's start to being a big leaguer wasn't good, right? Alec Bohm, start to a bit, not even start to a big leaguer, just this year wasn't good in the field, right? So you're talking about a lot of guys.
Team.
You have to talk about a lot of guys that had to overcome something. Nick Castellanos still just isn't good enough, right? But the rest of the world, right? But even Nick, he's had big hits. Let's call it what it is. He's had big hits. He's redeemed himself in ways. It's going to take him a year off to get back to the Nick Castellanos, but he's had a lot of big hits in the postseason that have been important for this baseball team. So it's been a redeem tour for every single one of these guys. Sir Anthony, out with Tommy John. What's he going to come back like? Right? Aaron Nola, you can't win big games.
Was bad in September. I'm Sir Anthony, not Noah. Sir Anthony struggled in September, right?
Yeah,
we both. We were getting out of him.
Both in reality. Alvarado got sent down.
Yeah.
Circle the block. Zack Wheeler was out. Zack Wheeler has never been this dominant. You kidding me? He's been very good. He's had great stuff. He's never been this guy.
Zach Eflin was a starter, gets hurt. Now he's in the bullpen. And
we never thought we'd ever see him again. We never thought we'd ever see him again. He ended up clinching. He was the pitcher who clinched the freaking playoffs to begin with.
So it's a lot of talent, right? Like Sweep said, huge payroll. We're supposed to be a postseason team, etc. Right? That's why we've pounded the table for years, especially when the payroll went up, right? But they find ways to overcome stuff and constantly, like Rhys is the biggest example of it. Most guys make those types of plays and errors, and they don't redeem it. They go worse. They go south, and that shows what kind of leader he is and his thought process and the kind of player he's not perfect by any stretch. I mean, I need you to feel the ground ball, but at the end of the day, if you don't, what's your response going to be to it? That's what winners do. I'm not saying winners always hit home runs like that, but winners redeem it in some fashion. They go 2 for 4 the next night, 2 doubles or 2 for 4 with a single and a double. Like guys that they can figure that out, come back and get it right. They don't keep going down that road that puts them in the minor leagues or they're not in the big leagues anymore. All right. So I got to give credit to every one of these guys. Obviously, when you get this far, it's a credit tour, but this seems a little bit different in the types of credit you have to give because of everything they've sort of gone through to get here. And now they're at the healthiest they've been all year in reality, right? I mean, they're the healthiest they've been all year. And you see what kind of team. And then the opportunities to let the kids play, like we talked about, to let Alec figure it out, right? And I think that's the biggest thing Rob Thompson, 2 things he did here, right? 2 things, and why you should have extended him as soon as he did it, was he let Bryson and Alec play every day. If you make an error, you're back out there the next day, right? He never did the Joe Girardi, where he was scared to play the younger guys. He owed something to Didi, right? Then you look at what he did with this bullpen. And they're the 2 reasons I really believe outside of obviously what's happened in the postseason, they're the 2 reasons why we got to the postseason, or 4 reasons or 3 reasons really. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
you look at the different contributing factors to before you even got to this, to where, like we all talked about, if you don't go on that little run in the middle of the summer, you don't have really a prayer's chance of gaining ground and getting back into a playoff picture, because they were, they looked like they were dead and buried at that point, early in June. You had guys like Nick Maton. You had guys, like Derek Hall, Edmundo Sosa, Garrett Stubbs. When there was some serious injuries going through the locker room, not only with Bryce Harper, and all of them stepped up. They all had their little mini moments. It's unbelievable. And to your point with Harper, Tom, I did find this on Twitter really quick via Shilkapadia. In the last 15 years, there have been 339 players who have had at least 40 plate appearances in a single postseason. Among that group, Bryce Harper's batting average in the 2022 offseason, which is .419, and OPS, which is 1.351, rank first all time.
Yeah, nobody does this.
No, this is.
Guys get out the next night. Guys will have a great night, get out the next night, and this guy's just not getting out. He can't be any more locked in when the lights turn on. He's waited for this moment again. He's had it back when he was younger, but he's worked for this moment. And listen, go make the most of it. And the guy's made more than the most of it. And he's got one more to go, right? Because again, I'm not Greg here. Greg can be like, it feels good to be here. Absolutely not, because these chances to be here don't come around all the time. Sure. Go win the damn thing. I don't care if Houston. I don't care. It's Houston.
You got to finish.
Far. I can beat Houston.
No, absolutely. No, you're not conceding. Obviously, you got to go finish. You got to go finish.
Concede.
You know what I mean? No, not you. I'm saying in general. You never concede. Baseball is beautiful, all right? And especially, when your best player is carrying your team and he's doing what the best player is supposed to do, all right? And that doesn't mean that it happens all the time. Barry Bonds terrible in the postseason. You know what I mean? And everybody wants to say he's the greatest player of all time. Forget about the juice. All right, terrible in the postseason. A-Rod, terrible in the postseason. You can go right down the list. You know what I mean? So it's not automatic being, when you're the best player, but that's what your best player is supposed to do. It's supposed to carry you, and then he's getting tremendous help. Like I said, timely help from the sporting cast. All right, and like I said, the averages aren't there. You look around. I think besides him, at 419, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
I think Mean Gene is like 280, and then everybody else is like Mendoza, just hanging out in the Mendoza line. You know what I mean? But monster homers, like I said, just monster homers. You know what I mean? So, they were, Hoskins, he couldn't have any bigger swings than he has the last two nights. You know what I mean? Like, 4-0, you're down 4-0 yesterday. You come back. We all know that Cleveland's just, a piece of shit, but you still got to perform. You know what I mean? You get a leadoff walk with a 4-0 lead. You get a leadoff walk. I say, Mike, I got to cut your hair. Mike, let me time out real quick. Let me cut your hair. All right. And then Rhys hits an absolute bomb off him, cuts it in half. We got a ball game, and then they get one more. And then all of a sudden what a huge answer that was before, they had to go to the pen before there was no outs. So, tremendous job. Like I said, it's always a perfect storm of, not just the players on your team and what your guys are doing and what your manager is doing. It's what the other team is doing as well. So you always take care of what's in your locker room, and Topper's doing that with the Phillies. You know what I mean? Like he's selling out, right? Bob Melvin, he don't even get on the plane. He don't even get on the fucking plane. If I own the Padres, they went for the kill with Soto and everything else they did. And this fucking dude is saving, excuse my language, I'm getting fired up. Philly should be excited. This guy's saving a hater for opening day. You got to be shitting me. You don't even need, let's say he can't get 6 outs. I don't give a shit what the notebook says. He faces Harper. That's it. And then you want to leave him, then get him out. That's fine. He has to face Harper there.
Bigger than that. We just heard.
Just put Harper on. First and second, no outs, and go after Castellanos and Bo.
I thought all these guys looked at the book. So if you look at the book,
the other one, yes.
And you're looking in the book, and forget it. Harper, 419 batting average. Are you kidding me? And I got eyeballs too, so you don't even got to tell me 419. My eyes, I know we all watched it. We know it's up there, right? So at the end of the day, he don't see a pitch hit this year. Nick Castellanos is batting behind him. Are we kidding me? I can watch it home and say, I got a real good chance of getting this guy out because I'll be up 0-1 real quick because I'll throw a freaking ball that hits the dirt 20 feet in front of the plate, right? And he'll take a cut at it.
In the parking lot, that guy's swinging.
He's
in
raring to
the
go.
parking lot.
Raring to go. So, and no disrespect to Alec and no disrespect to Bryson because I love Bryson. Bryson's big hit Bryson, okay? All time. Big hit Bryson. But and I love Alex swing and stuff. But, like, those guys don't scare me. Like, this dude scares you. I mean, right now he's in scare mode. He comes up there, it's like Bonds on the juice in the regular season. You're like, I can't get this guy out. So that's a guy I just don't throw. I don't throw a strike to after game 3, he doesn't see a strike the rest of the series. Or he may a pitch to hit. He doesn't see a pitch to hit the rest of the series unless somebody else beats you. And I know it's like, that's a soft way, but I'm not being soft. I'm just saying this guy's not going to beat me. He's not going to beat me tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Yeah, nobody's saying it's your problem, Ted. You might, maybe you would say homer off the next guy. You know what I mean? I don't know if you kind of maybe you worded that wrong or maybe you don't know what you're talking about. But, listen, awesome job. You know what I mean? Like, would have scored off the other guy. Yeah, maybe you would have. I don't know. Maybe you would have homered off the other guy. Yeah. All right, but all
he's not homer off the game.
I know. No. But let's just keep Ted into the baseball fever. You know what I mean? Because I know he went to the mall and got all his red stuff. Like 2 weeks ago. You could buy everything you could Phillies. A month ago. All right, now you can't get a T-shirt anywhere. So awesome job. Credit to them. They've been outstanding. But like I said to Tom, that's what we were saying too. I don't care if you don't make the move. If he can't get you 6 outs, that's fine. You bounce 4 chains up and you take your chance.
I'm not throwing a strike.
You either let him strike out, and get himself out, or you just walk him.
Once he lays off the changeup, he lays off that changeup, I said at home, I said, uh-oh.
My mom even jumped watching that changeup. She thought he was swinging.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a nobody on my couch.
Yeah, lights out.
I was laying on a shark chair. Even bigger than that, I was laying on Cass's shark chair. And I said, uh-oh. I want to come back with a fastball. And these idiots at home, come back with a fastball. I don't care if those 97. This dude hit 104. It doesn't matter right now.
Unreal changeup and unreal take. One of the best takes you ever see. And that's when you're going good, man. We tell our hitters all the time. Young hitters, high school hitters, big league hitters. All right. When you take pitches like that are absolutely money pitches, inch off the plate, absolutely wipe out, 2-strike, finish. We call them finish pitches. All right. When you take a finish pitch, when you take a finish pitch, wow, you're seeing the ball great. And there's no way you can throw anything in the strike zone to that guy.
Robert, thanks for the super chat. He says, let's go Phillies, 4 more. I'm overjoyed, as we should be. As we should be.
Tom, like you were saying with I thought they followed the book and everything. If the Padres, to all your points, I have no idea what they were thinking with that entire approach in the 8th inning, to be honest, let alone the entire game. But if they were so worried, what if we put Harper on, then you're going to have 2 guys on. You should know what is the biggest thing the Phillies have struggled with, at least with offense, in the second half of the season. It's hitting with runners in scoring position. So you would think, hey, okay, instead of pitching to the guy who's basically scorched earth right now, Bryce Harper.
Rizzo, what a scumbag.
Instead of that, the worst you can do is put him on Castellanos, like we both said. He's swinging at something in the parking lot. The fact that, we don't even know if he's going to make contact with anything. They've been struggling with runners in scoring position all year long. You would think that they would take their chances with that, but whatever. Thanks for not doing it, I guess.
And then he can hit and do a double play. A lot of things can happen. And
a double play goes hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's no woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's an awesome story. It didn't get done. The move wasn't made, and I will agree with Ted in that point. It's not your problem. All right, so that's all. We like to keep it real here. Some of us, that's all. It doesn't mean you're a hater or anything like that. We keep it real. We talk the way what I watched. Big baseball guys. I like to give you analysis of what I saw and what you should do. But we know that. That's why Bob Melvin was stuck in Oakland. He's perfect for Oakland. He's perfect for the the cuteness, the teddy bear and cuteness. You know what I mean? He's a Build-A-Bear. Bob Melvin is a Build-A-Bear. He's a Build-A-Bear. He's a Build-A-Bear.
Even his
Look
response.
at Bob Melvin. He's so cute. He's a Build-A-Bear. That's what.
Even his response and his answer to Bowtie afterwards wasn't like didn't make sense. Like it was almost like again, you're saving him for what, Bob? For what? What are you saving him for? He's saying how at that point they were waiting to get him through Harper because he was the last lefty, and his first homer he gave up against the lefty all year. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Yeah. But it happened. The dude's white hot. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Those lefties might not be this lefty right now.
Those lefties aren't this lefty right now in this spot. Like, that's
where the book bends you over. That's where the book bends you over.
Yeah, that's all we're saying. All I'm saying is, once JT singles, the move's automatic. You know what I mean? If you got JT out and you want to mess around with Harper, and he can tie it, I still wouldn't mess around with Harper. He'd still get 4 changeups in the dirt. I wouldn't throw anywhere near him. But if you wanted to mess around and JT wasn't on, okay, he hits one off the wall, Whitman, it's tied. Okay, and I still wouldn't like it. All right, but once JT's on, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Guy hasn't pitched in a couple days. He probably comes out throwing 160.
Harper's
effectively wild, right? That's the best. That's the best hater too, right? Effectively wild, where he's all over the zone, but
you can worry about the ninth when you get there. That's what I love about Topper. Topper is we want Sir Anthony at the back end, and rightfully so. Topper said, Sir Anthony comes in the 7th. He's coming in the 7th. He comes in the 7th. I got Alvarado. All right. And guess what? I get to the 9th. It's old Mother Hubbard. And there it was. And that's what, and old Mother Hubbard and Ollie Robertson's in the cover. And they said, you know what? Oh, shit. I got to get this guy out.
was F1 out today? Did anybody hear?
I don't know.
Probably. I mean, maybe I didn't hear. I just know he probably. I'll tell you exactly why. He goes Ranger there. One, it's a bullpen.
No, I was more Robertson.
Oh yeah, well Robertson. I mean, listen, he's a veteran. He's been there, so to him, it's like he's hoping he can get you 3 outs, right? Mm-hmm. He's hoping he can. And I think why he has Ranger up there. One, he's a lefty, and they haven't hit lefties well this year. San Diego for whatever reason. Okay, they haven't hit lefties really well at all. And I think, like they say, like he's just a calm guy. So maybe he just felt like the moment wasn't going to be too big for him. And the way he pitched, here in game 4, I mean, man, why not run him out? And then Trey Grissom just gives us a freebie. So that's just dumb baseball. Like I wonder if he thought there was no outs.
Was that called? Do you think?
Do you think there's no outs?
He tried to take it with him. He tried to take it with him. It looked like, and just obviously, butchered it. But, you push it to third. I mean, Bohm's not expecting it. Like you said, if you're going to do it, you push it to third and you give yourself a chance. But, and that's why, like you said,
the Yankees right now.
And that's the other reason you go to Ranger there. Like you said, bullpen. A little bullpen day, and it's 8-9. 8-9. Grisham was 0 for 18 in the series. So, and I don't think, and Austin Nola can only get a hit off his brother. He couldn't throw it up out of his hand and hit it. You know what I mean? So, he couldn't throw it up out of his hand and hit it. So, it was the right. All you had to do was come. But they won't even know if Ranger could throw strikes because they swung 2 pitches.
Yeah,
2 pitches, pop the champagne.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
2 pitches.
The another Bryce Harper thing. He's the first player. He's the first player in the history of the MLB to home run in 3 different series clinching wins in a single postseason.
Jeez.
Wow.
First.
Yeah, I think the clutch goes out the window. If anybody thought he wasn't clutch. I mean, I never said the guy wasn't clutch. I mean, we never know. He's only been in the postseason one time, so you don't know. You don't really know how clutch he is in the big moment. But pretty safe to say he's a clutch guy. Again, got 4 more wins to go though, right? Like you really quiet everything when you win the whole damn thing, right? I'm talking about the masses. I'm talking about outside of Philadelphia, right? Like I'm talking about the haters, right? You really quiet any hater that's even going to surface. Any roach that the atomic bomb didn't take out, right? You take them out right then and there. That's how you do it, right? Because the NLCS is awesome. It's awesome. Like, and I was telling Lena, she's like, well, why are they like jumping up and down? They didn't win the World Series yet. Like, what I mean? Like typical. And I said, listen, you won the whole National League. It's the NL pennant. Like, you know, why is it bigger? She really wanted to know why it was bigger than other rounds. You know what I mean? Before the World Series. And I was like, because you just won the NL pennant. That's big. That's not like something to put your nose up to, right? But you really want to, everyone, not just for Bryce, I'm talking about the Phillies in general. You can win the whole damn thing. Because now you're a winner for life. Right now, you're like a half a winner. You know what I mean? Like you're like a half a winner. You're like so close. And you can taste being a full winner. But nobody can ever question if you're a winner or not when you wear that type of ring. Nobody can. Nobody can take it away from you ever 10 years from now, right? When people are like, bad contract. Was it? Let me circle back to 2022. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's going to say that, but you understand what I'm saying. Like any little thing you can find to throw at it that you wouldn't like about Harper or this team or John Middleton or Dave Dombrowski, right? The whole list goes on. They're winners. And for my young kids that are on this baseball team to be winners right now goes a long way for this franchise, in my opinion. Goes a long way for this franchise to learn how to win early. Because you know, but they may never get back. We've seen guys win and never get back. But you understand the point, though. I think it changes the culture. Right now, it's already changed that culture to a point, right? But when we talk about cut the nets down, dude, I mean, wow. You know, like this was cute. Everybody on Broad Street tonight. That Broad Street don't do nothing for me. You know what Broad Street does it for us. Oh, yeah. We want the parade. This is cool. I did it in 08 and 09.
Yeah.
I get it.
Long time.
When I was younger. I run all around the streets. But the big one is what we all go to.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the next one. And that's what I want for this baseball team. That's what I want because they are the underdog person. They're going to be the underdog in this series, but they're really not. They're really not because Houston doesn't overly hit you like they used to.
Right.
They're timely hits right now, too. They're very good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Harper and Alvarez are the two best lefties in baseball. Okay, the way they swing it. You know, Altuve's been cold right now, but I trust that Jose's going to find a barrel or two, right? Pena's been phenomenal for him, all right? But they pitched. They will deal it on you, right? But those guys can be hit, right? You know what I mean? They got a lot of arms, but they can't. We got a pretty good lineup, in my opinion. Top 5 coming into the year, I thought, right? Top 5 lineup in baseball, I thought. Mm-hmm. You know, Yankees obviously top 5, but they're different too. Like they're way too much home run driven. I feel like we have a lot of guys that it's home run or bust, but we have enough contact guys in our lineup that it sort of evens it out a little bit, right? You know what I mean? They're a free swing city in New York. So teams can expose you if you ain't hitting it out of the ballpark, right? Well, we're a little bit different.
Look at last night, right? Or yesterday's game, last night's game, that proved what we kind of thought our top 5 could be. Right, all of our runs were not generated, but all scored and was all done by the top 5. Right, we had Stock get a couple of hits that drove in. I think Castellanos a couple of times, but that top 5 was on fire last night in that game. Right, every time we went down. That top 5 was coming up in big spots, and that's to your point, Tommy. That's that lineup that we envisioned that we didn't get to see a whole lot because of the random injuries and stuff like that. Right, Nick being out a month, Harper being out. JT looking like ass early in the year, right? You know, so we didn't get that a lot, and now we're starting to see, to what we all talked about and all thought that, all right, this is again a pass the baton type of lineup. No one is scared of the moment, right? You see Bryson come up and just have, regardless of what he's doing, he's having professional at bats. Like he's not having rookie at bats. You know, he's having huge, big at-bats that are now turning into doubles and hits at big times.
Greg, he didn't have a hit. He hasn't had a hit. Huge. He hasn't had a hit that hasn't been huge.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think he's had a hit that hasn't been huge. And we now know he's a big game player. Mm-hmm. We now know it, right? You know, so, I mean, and guy like practically lives with Harp. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it definitely rubbed off on him. But this whole team is unbelievable. But like you said, you know, like we talked about, the season was weird, but April and May don't matter to me anymore. It's you know, as soon as Rob took over and what they've done since then shows you the identity, because they've done a lot without Harp. And some of us thought they maybe could get hot without him because they were locking a little more. attention to detail. And credit to them, they did. But their bullpen was money through that period. Their starters were money through that period. So it wasn't like they hit the cover off the ball. But JT did. JT stepped up the most without Harper. And that's what I love to see from him, because he got hot as a pistol without Bryce. But they got it done doing the little things. And I think once they did that, and you get a feel about your confidence without your best players in the lineup, right? And as a team, I think then that gives the rest of that team, because Schwarber was obviously hot too. Hitting the ball at ballpark. But you guys know what I'm saying? I think what happens is guys start to believe that, hey, we're pretty good. Like, we're without our best player, and we're pretty good. We're playing great baseball right now. And I think that gives you confidence. Now, it didn't go well in September when he came back, right? Because he was struggling.
Yeah.
Right? And we were just – listen, I think we sort of felt like we had it over with. And then, we sort of gave it away again. But we weren't playing good baseball, so there's no excuses. But we did enough to get in, and we won the games we had it with to get into the dance. And now you have your full finished team.
That run that JT went on in the summer, I mean, that's an MVP caliber run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't finish, and he obviously didn't start to put him in there. But like that run that he went on, and then the 2020 homers and stolen bases from a catcher. And then when you factor in how many games that he called as well, I mean, that's an MVP-esque run, right? Obviously, he's not going to win, and who knows if he gets any votes, but you needed that run from that type of guy during that time period, right? Yeah. To solidify and kind of like, all right, we got this without Harp. Like, yeah, we're missing our guy, but we got this without Harp, and he was that big guy that stepped up and went on an absolute tear.
Who would you guys say of all the, it doesn't have to just be position players, who would you guys say is the biggest X factor for the Phillies in the World Series?
It's hard to say your bullpen, because you have to have leads. I mean, if you notice San Diego in this series, they didn't have enough leads deep in the games to be able to use their guns, which we did, right? So our guns showed out this series because we had leads. So, I'm always going to – I feel like, if you got to pick one player, I would love to say our starting pitching, because I think they got a deal. So I don't want to take that cop out of saying, like, all 3 or 4 of our starters, have to deal. So I'll go in the lineup. So who's going to be our biggest X factor, or who is?
Who would you say is?
Well, it's got to be. Okay, buddy, you were talking, but
no, because it's got to be somebody.
I don't want to steal your thing, but for me, the X factor is it's got to be Castellanos. There's no way Harp sees any pitches. Whoever's you're going to put behind, you got to put somebody behind him. Like whether you mix it up, and I'm not saying he's going to mix it up. I understand they're in the World Series, so he's going to keep it the way it is now. You know what I mean? But you almost want Harp, you almost want Hoskins behind him. You know what I mean? Somewhere where somebody behind him has to protect him, or it's just going to be not just a 4 fest. It's going to be 4 sliders in the dirt or whatever it is.
Then I'll go in front of you then, right? I'll go in front of you and I'll say JT. JT's got to be hot. JT's got to get hot this year, because you expect him that he's going to see pitches to hit because Bryce is behind him. Then we need a big series from JT. But this offense, right, has to hit, and we have to have leads, and the more chances you take away from them to use their bullpen the way they want to, advantage us.
Yeah, I'll go one spot above there, and I'll go Rhys. Right? I mean, he's proven that when he's on, and it doesn't have to be every game, right? Like Rhys, I need four games out of you, right? Like, I need 4 big games out of you. You could be bad the other 3. I just need 4 big ones. But he's proven that when he is on, he's a big factor in this lineup, and he's a big factor for this team.
I'll go one in front of Greg. I'll go Schwarber. I'll go Schwarber, because in a way, like, listen, everybody.
Real quick, Ryan. Real quick.
Yeah.
If these 5 guys don't hit, they're not winning. So it's just as simple as that. So they're all spot on names, because if 1 through 4 doesn't hit, just take Nick out of it. If 1 through 4 doesn't hit, you might this could be over in 4. So,
but we just saw that, right? We saw that from the Padres after Girardi. They were out. And even Girardi had one hit, right? I mean, like, in that 9th inning, I thought Robinson, all he had to do was get through Girardi, and he was good, because that was the only long ball threat in that group. But we just saw, you're absolutely right. Grissom was terrible. Nola was terrible. And Kim had a couple of hits, but he's not going to hurt you deep.
No.
You know what I mean? So to what you just said, absolutely. If our top doesn't do it, then it doesn't matter.
Schwarber's impact is unbelievable because you look at it, it's like, okay, that guy has no business being in the leadoff because the guy doesn't get on base. It's either strikeout looking or it's 40 feet in the seats. There's no in between. But what that guy does when he's hot, it's almost like it's a two-tiered monster. Like, obviously, Rhys doing good things, JT, doing what he needs to do is important. But it's like, okay, when Schwarber's on, he's like Harper level. He's just scorched earth. He's one of the hottest guys on the planet as far as hitting. If you get that, and you've gotten glimpses, I think he had 3 home runs in this series alone. You're gonna have Schwarber's starting things, and we all know we've seen it a lot where an opening first inning leadoff home run that can shock the system a little bit, regardless of who's pitching for Houston. Having that, and then Rhys, big hit Rhys at times, JT who's been very dependable, and then Harper who's kind of led the charge. That's gigantic. And then you don't even get to the point where it's like, oh wait, our young guys are doing things. Bryson's like mini Bryce a little bit because he's getting a ton of rally leading doubles and everything in between. It's unbelievable.
The only time you get hurt with it is if those guys are not going well. If those guys aren't going well, it's strikeout city. So I don't love the construction of it. I get it. I get what they think in today's baseball. They say I can go up 2-0 on you real quick, right? So I get it, right? I don't love that both of those guys are in there. It's true though. Like if Schwarber hits one 490 feet and lead off a game, the other team's like, that's not the start we wanted, right? So it's nice to have. And the same thing, he gets on. He doesn't single much, right? But if he gets a base hit like he did the other day,
the poopy shooter to the left field.
Yep, the poopy. Nice. I feel like you can't even swing that way. Like his body doesn't work that way.
He probably felt so awkward hitting that ball.
But the funny part is you get a single from him, and then Rhys hits a bomb. So I understand the process. I always think it's more to have a great on base guy at 1, and then your 2-hole hitter, if you want to go that route, it's a guy who can lose you a ball. But this is fine too because it's worked. So it's worked. And even when they were struggling, which they were, both of them at the same time, we were still finding ways to win. So even through their struggles, we were still winning games. I know somebody said, Alec Baum, would be the guy, but the bottom, whatever you get out of the bottom's a win. Like now Alec's not really a bottom guy in the 6-hole, but whatever you get 6, 7, 8, 9, to me is a win. So if those guys give you production, that's just a benefit. Now, if the top isn't hitting, then if you want to win this series, your bottom better be hot. Then you're gonna have a game where you're gonna need those guys down there, to compile 6, 7 hits for you, right from 6 to 9. So to win this series, the way who you're going to be going against, most likely, you're gonna need the bottom of your lineup for sure. It's hard to be hot for 7 games, right, or even 6 games in a row. It's hard for the same guys, right? So it's going to be the same way we've seen it all postseason. It's been a little bit of different heroes in ways, right? Nick had a hero game, right? They started off early on. Like Nick had a hero game. Other guys, Bryce had hero games. Rhys had hero games. JT really isn't a hero game. Inside the Parker is a big one. Last night he tacks on, right? But hasn't really had his hero game. Bryson has, in my opinion, because the one 10-pitch at bat he had, and then singled before the homer versus Atlanta was gigantic. Marsh has had a game where he was a hero game. So they get here sort of who hasn't, right? Wheeler's had his, Nola's had his hero games. So Sir Anthony and the bullpen have had them. So it's you're going to need now. You're going against even better, right? So the level goes up. I think Atlanta's as good as everybody is. Just to be clear, like Atlanta to me is the class of the NL. Even over the Dodgers, I just like them better, right? And I hate Atlanta, and I think they're right there with Houston on the way they're built, right? It's just they got cold, we were scorching hot, we dethroned them. But that's the whole point. Is I think Atlanta's right there, and we were able to do what we did versus them. Now the pitching for Houston's better than Atlanta, though. That's the difference this year. But not really though, because I mean they're guys. If Strider doesn't sit out for a while, and Friedman lights out all year, so but those guys, they weren't themselves, obviously. But whatever. I think those teams are right there with each other. But the deeper you go, the more contributions you need, right? That's all I'm really trying to get at.
No, absolutely. And you expect Harper to be pitched differently, right, in the World Series, right, even more magnified than it is. So that's where you hope that, that Hoskins having the last couple of days that he's had, maybe he's that guy that gets a little hot. Castellanos, although he drives us all nuts, has come up with a couple big hits, over the last 2 or 3 games to where maybe he finds a pulse in the World Series. Because, Nick, Sweeps, you're absolutely correct. He is the absolute biggest cog in this lineup coming into the World Series. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's got to be the guy behind Harper that has to strike fear in that pitching staff to protect him. If not, it's going to be Walk City. Yeah,
you're right. And listen, wouldn't it be fitting though, the way this season's going and everything's going, that like Nick Castellanos, he's like your World Series MVP.
Oh
like, wouldn't it just be fitting? I don't think it's going to happen. I wouldn't gamble on it, right? But like, it would be fitting the way the redemption tour's going here throughout this run. That Nick's hoisting up. He's got the car, right? Nick gets the car. He's coming down the Clydesdale on Broad Street. Like, it would be so fitting that Nick hits like 3 home runs and they're monster homers, because he's going to get pitches to hit. He'll be selective. Now, defensive Nick, every first year places, it takes him a minute. I feel like he's like a slow starter when he starts out somewhere for whatever reason, dude. I mean, these guys are human beings. I don't know. Maybe it's Ben's house. I have no idea. But what I do know is the guy's still a professional hitter. Like, we've all watched Nick Castellanos for long enough, guys. We knew what we were getting. All of us thought, right? Like, we always thought, like, this guy's just a professional hitter and can hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's grown into his game over time, right? And we all thought that's what we were getting. So what better time for him? Like, Atlantic, huge game, right? And last night, give him credit. That's a huge double. All right, last night's a huge double. I don't want, right? I got a little off the end of the bat. It felt like, but able to get it down the line, but a huge double. So nonetheless, but what he hasn't done yet is lose the baseball, and you got to feel like is it gonna come for him at all this year? Because what better time to come for it? You have a little run where you're like Harper, he hit 3 or 4 homers in a series. I don't know.
To answer Adam's question with the World Series schedule, the first game in Philly will be Monday, October 31st.
First game in Philly, Monday, October 31st.
Yep, and yes, it's 2-3-2, just like
it's the anniversary of the parade, Halloween,
and 2 off days, right?
Yeah, there is that middle off day again.
2-3-2, 2 off days.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, November 3rd we're off, and October 30th we're off.
Yeah, series starts Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then we pick back on Monday.
Do you guys like what Sean's saying here? Root for the Yankees to win at least 2 more, make Houston use pitching, or would you rather Houston have the same break we have? How do you guys feel about this? I'm going to tell them to use more pitching. I almost agree with him, and I don't know if I agree with him, but their pitching's so good. Like, can we use a couple other guys where you have messes up who you're going to start game 1, game 2, maybe?
Just because it feels like they've had more days off than we have, you can keep playing. Keep playing.
Well, they've done fine with no days off. So I mean, a lot of days off. So I don't think that's going to phase them one bit.
That's exactly it. We've seen them come off 10-day break, whatever it was. It felt like it was freaking 3 weeks. They're bye. Like, we've seen them. It's like, oh, okay, you're the same team.
Yeah, but coming off of that,
coming off
of that, Seattle put up 6 early on Verlander.
Yeah, and then Alvarez hit one, and then Alvarez hit one.
Yeah, it still has
hit a
exactly.
piss missile.
He hit the Arlington. You know what I mean? It hit Jerry's world.
Maybe
Verlander did come out struggling, right?
Yeah, maybe Verlander doesn't like the break, but everybody else seemed to have loved the break.
Well, guys, if they go another, they go. If the Yankees can pull off 2 in a row, which is a lot to ask from them, right? If the Yankees pull off 2 in a row, then that would take us to when?
So they win tonight.
Monday.
They obviously play tomorrow.
Then they would take them into Tuesday. So then they would play Tuesday.
Tuesday's an off, or no, there is no off day. It would take them. You're right. It would take them right to. At least Tuesday.
And when's the World Series open up? Friday. So even if they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they probably still got a dog. They're okay. They're okay. It doesn't really mess it up. The only way it messes up their rotation, in my opinion, really messes it up if it really gets extended. If they really, if this goes to, this got to go to 6.
They go to 6 is Monday. 7 would be. 6 is Tuesday. 7 is Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it almost has to go to 7 to really screw you up. But
I think it affects the bullpen too. So, I think any time that you got, I know we're talking about rest this year because of the whole bye and stuff. You know what I mean? But the Phillies definitely need it. They can use a couple days. And,
they probably can, right?
Yeah, they can use a couple days. For sure. But anytime your opponent's playing, like you want them to use pitching, whether it's starters or bullpen guys, and then the longer the series goes, somebody could tweak something too. I don't have the chicken bones out. Just telling you. I mean, like,
can you get them out?
tweak something.
Can you get a couple bones out?
Does anyone else hate this little week break as much as I do?
No,
because I hate it.
I'm going to soak it in.
My God, who's behind home plate? Oh my God.
Right. Are you kidding me? The stress we've gone through.
No, I hate it for that. I don't want our bats to cool down. I'm worried about.
I don't buy into that stuff. I just don't. I don't. Because listen, they're going to do simulated. They're doing. If we think that they're not doing simulated live ABs through this, now I get it. But they're going to still see it. It's not like they're taking 5 days and they're going to Punta Cana. You know what I mean?
That's what they got Bailey Falter for. Just to go out there to throw BP.
Yeah, now we know why we didn't see him. Now
we said, Houston sat for 4 or 5 days, right? And they came out and they started a little slow in that game. They ended up putting a bunch up in game 1. So I think it depends. It's a makeup of your team in a way too, right? I don't think there's any. We talked about this last week. People are like, oh, some people think it's unfair that some of the teams have to sit and wait for the wild card to get done, right? And I'm like, okay, but those teams get to set up what they want to do to you. They get to set up their game 1 pitcher. They get to set up their game 2 pitcher. They get to set up their dogs for you. Their bullpen gets a little breather after a long season. So the bats, I get it's contagious. You're hot right now, but I don't think this team loses its mojo. That's the thing. You got a mojo going with you now. That 4 or 5 days, I don't think loses the mojo. I actually think it gives the bodies a little bit of a breather, and it gives some of these arms that have been used a lot of breather. If we don't think that Schwartz was dealing with a little something in his knee, they talked about. I mean, I would like my guys to have a couple days to breathe it, just to get better. That doesn't mean I don't come out cold, but after a game, to me, that goes out the window. After game 1, it's wake up time. Wake up time. If these guys use that as an excuse, we sat for a minute. Okay, grow up.
Except for your bullpen cogs, they're gonna see live at bats off Thor, Gibson, and Falter. All right, they're gonna get live at bats in these 5 days. Those guys are gonna throw live. Yeah, no, I'm just letting you know. I mean, at least they're gonna. Gibson's not a major leaguer, but I mean, he's a guy that's gonna stand on there and at least give you.
Well, make us feel good. He'll make us feel good in those live ABs. You know what I mean? Guys are like, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
Let me bring on Verlander. Where's he at?
But now they're definitely doing it. So that's the why I don't. To Wayne, I know Wayne. That was a great question. That's why this time of year, this late in the game. No, because they're going to see live ABs. They're going to be ready to go. And the best thing is we get Wheeler, Noah set up the way we need them set up. We get our bullpen a little bit of a breather here, and let's freaking go. I ain't going to come out of this with any excuses. The roof ain't open. The roof's closed. Open, closed. I don't care. Right? I believe in this baseball team. We're good enough to beat them. Does that always mean you're going to beat somebody that's better than you? No, but we're good enough to do it.
Above all else, the number, aside from your bullpen, I think the biggest guy that could use this week off, and this is based off of his post-game comments, it's Zack Wheeler. Because he was asked how he's feeling with his leg after he got hit with that the hit. I forget who hit it. Yeah, the comebacker.
Wait, what did he get? I didn't see this. I must have been finishing up work.
You got hit in the
back of the knee.
Yeah.
What?
Leg.
Yeah, and he ricocheted back to JT, and they got it out. He was asked about it in the post game in the locker room, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm hurting." He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna get some treatment and get it back to the way it was." But he was very much like, "Yeah."
Numbing agent on it.
Well, what?
Yeah.
But okay, so Friday it starts. Next Friday it starts. Today's Sunday. So I mean that's normal rest for him anyway, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. It lines
So
up.
it's nothing. He don't get any extra in terms of Zach. It
No,
would be nice.
and he mentioned he'll be ready to go. He said,
No, which is good. Which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I don't want my starters all out of whack. You know what I mean? My bullpen, fine. Let those guys breathe. But I don't want my starters sitting like 8 days. You know what I mean? No. I got to get these guys back out there and going. So I actually like that he's on normal, regular schedule programming.
Noah's the one that's going to be on a lot of rest.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow is going to be his 5 days, and then tack on 5 more days.
He's a different guy, though. He's not a power guy. I feel like
I
power.
agree.
That's my only. I think for him it might be a little different. I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? I'm just trying to have Tom's lifting up rocks, hoping. But like I feel like when you're more that kind of guy, maybe it doesn't affect you as much.
Well,
when you're
like I
power
said,
guy.
I wonder too.
No, he'll probably throw it. I'm sorry, Greg. He'll probably throw tomorrow. Like, they might celebrate and stuff, but I think he should throw tomorrow. Like, hey guys, get drunk. See you at the park at 5 o'clock. Knowles. I mean, have a good time. I love it. I love it. But see you at the park at like 5 o'clock. Knowles is going to throw 50, right? Because he's not going again until Saturday. That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
I hear you. I almost wondered if he threw
Tuesday?
earlier today. But I guess he wouldn't have in lead up to in case he needed tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, but if
they were on a red eye. Yeah, had they lost today.
Yeah. Would Tuesday still give him normal rest?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
If he threw 50.
3 days rest. That's 3 days rest.
3 days.
So.
Yeah, he might be the only guy coming into work tomorrow. Like I think everybody else gets the day off, but I think Knowles, and your bullpen catcher, whoever it is, or maybe even it is JT.
Nola might be on
you're
a
coming
fire.
in tomorrow. Throw 50. You're absolutely right. So he's throw 50 pitches in some sort of
if they're not
simulated time.
Yeah.
And this isn't a big sit down either, right? Like he's not rested that long, Greg, because we're this deep into the year. If he had like a 2 week, if he had like a 2 week sit down, that concerns me, right? Like if he has a Strider sit down, it concerns me. Oh. But like him getting 9 days since he would it be 8, 9 since he threw? What would it be? 9, 10? What's he on?
Wednesday. It was Wednesday. Yeah, he pitched on Wednesday.
So 9 or 10? 10, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be 10.
It'd be 10.
Yeah, he threw game 2. Yeah.
Two full rotations.
It's getting to that point where it's like, I don't love it. But we'll see. I mean, he's not going to throw a bullpen like Sweep said. He's going to throw a bullpen. Those guys are going to, they're going to be ready to go. Yeah. I'm even sure the bullpen guys that, are taking that'll take a little breather. They're still going to pick up a baseball this week.
Sure.
And get going a little bit too. So nobody's going to Punta Cana.
I love the fact, and it's no different than what we saw in this series, obviously, but being able to have Ranger go at home, better be Syndergaard, not to say that Syndergaard's awesome, but it's like anything but what we saw this time, anything but that. And then you get Wheels up, for game 5. So it's like, oh, okay, you're too iffy, even though Ranger was awesome in game 3, in this series. Your two iffy pitching matchups, per se, are going to be at home, and that's when your bats come alive and you're 5-0 in the postseason. So in that way, it matches up well for us.
Don't hate that, Robert. Like, I don't hate that. It's not, but I mean, I think you got to go with what you've done. I don't like changing that up just because like we've gone 1-2 with these guys, and this is where we're at. But I mean, if Wheels could use another day, but in terms of getting hit in the back of the leg, like if he can use another day for that, then sure. If that makes him stronger, an extra 24 hours, then so be it. I'm not like if Noah's on, Noah's as good as anybody in baseball. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about 1-2 because they both come back if the series gets extended, right? I mean, I'd much rather have Wheels for 5 than Noah, I would think. But
I agree.
At that point, he probably could go back for 5.
Yeah, and right to your point. I mean, Ranger was even better than what his stat line really was, right? You know what I mean? Like he got a couple errors there and a couple extra pitches. I mean, he was really lights out the other night. He really was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he pitched. I mean, without the 2 defensive blunders, he had 0 earned runs.
He's probably 0 runs and 50 pitches through 5 innings.
Well, dude,
Or
we've
6
seen it.
innings.
Not dude and you, like we've seen it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when his control's right, and you'll find out bright and early if his control's on, he's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. But and the Braves game, you could tell he was fighting. His control wasn't what he wanted to be, but in big spots, he was able to get the pitch right that he needed to get and make that pitch. So
he battled,
No, but that was a real promising thing to say. Okay, if he starts game 3, that moment here in Philly didn't phase him, and it hit both his outings here. He looked like he was locked in, ready to go. So that's a promising thing to be able to run him out. Game 3, and I agree with you. Right? I think that's been answered. It's definitely Syndergaard 4, unless some book like this book told them otherwise. Which that's where I throw the book out. Like this guy's never pitched in the postseason before. We're doing this to him now, and he's had a. Sorry, his last time out, he got smoked around the ballpark his last time out against the Braves, which was in the regular season, I think.
And Syndergaard looked good the other day.
It looked really good. He probably could have went longer than 3. I think Robbie got jacked up in that one.
Yeah.
And they pulled him. They pulled him yesterday too. I thought for sure, like, just throw Syndergaard out for at least 2 innings. You waited until what, the 6th? Like, I'm not me bitching right now means nothing because we won. So it's like whatever it did worked. But it's like I just thought the whole approach with their game 4 pitching was odd, right? It's like I understand you want to give Falter some things because you want to throw a left-hander against the Padres and all that. Syndergaard showed us nothing in game, in the first time we saw him in the postseason, and obviously yesterday where he can't handle the moment.
Well, I told you last night, Rob Thompson almost gave this game away for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, he doesn't pitch, right, but his decisions. But guess what? They bailed him out, and that's what happens with good teams, right? You're not always going to be perfect with your decision-making. But, I mean, it was no-brainer that Syndergaard comes in that spot instead of Hand. And to me, in my opinion, the way he pitched in Game 4 against Atlanta, right, same thing. I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer. I get it. They hit righties. I get it. I understand it. But Bailey Falter, has never pitched in that kind of situation before. Yeah. We're asking a lot. And the last time out, he still hasn't missed a barrel in Atlanta. So it's not like his last outing, he was lights out. At least I think that's his last outing. There might be another.
It was once against the Nationals.
Against Atlanta.
It was once against the Nationals because that in the regular season, because that start against Houston, he only went 1 inning. Like that was like the final game of the season. He went 1 inning. Before that, he had, I feel like it was game 2 against the Nationals.
Yeah, they said it was like 16 days. So I don't know if that's Astros to your point. I mean, I don't think he's thrown in 16 days before.
So what did the Nationals do to him that timeout? Did he shut him down? He probably shut him down. But I don't care what they do.
I mean, Phillies won 5-1, 6 innings, 6 Ks.
Was before that the Braves?
Before that was 2 consecutive Braves, lost 6-3, lost 5-2. 3 2/3, 10 hits, 6 earned runs.
The Nationals aren't a big league lineup, so
4 2/3, 1 earned run, 4 hits.
He was Cy Young like late August, early September. Then
again, here you go. 2 against the Marlins, and then you had Diamondbacks, Pittsburgh. He did pitch well against the Mets, but he pitched well against shit teams.
Yeah.
Or got wins like against shit teams.
And that's not to take anything away from him. We appreciate you. We needed him while Wheeler was getting his little reset done. They were saving him and all. But it's like, okay, we learned our lesson. Let's unless it's like I say in like the Bailey Falter or like a Andrew Bellotti situation where it's like, hey, fifth inning, fifth inning, something like that. If one of your starters gets hit around a lot. But the funny thing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, your unsung hero from yesterday's game, forget about the offense. Like the offense was great. We're responding after all those runs against us. It was Connor Brogdon and Andrew Bellotti. Like I know Brogdon gave up the 1 run, in the first inning, but Brogdon pitched 2 1/3 innings, and then Bellotti I think went 1, 2, 3.
At least an inning and a third, but I agree with you with Brogdon there. I threw it in our chat last night. That he was kind of low key. The kid, no, 2 1/3. You're right. 32 pitches, 2 Ks.
Yeah, that was
1 hit. Gave up that first hit.
Yeah, that was Falter's. All those runs were Falter's runs.
Yeah.
So, no. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, 32 pitches. and he was able to right the ship. Absolutely.
And Bilotti was 1 inning, 9 pitches. So yeah, you're absolutely right there, Ryan. I didn't realize. I knew he pitched an inning. I didn't realize it was 9 pitches.
Well, how about this, guys? I mean, he was really. I mean, in my opinion, Rob was almost like, game 4 was like almost like a fan in a way. Like, we're gonna have to hit the win. We're gonna have to out hit you. And he almost just said, you know what? I can't throw certain guys, and I got to sort of save them, even though there's no saving this time of year. They're just not ready to go. And these guys got to get the job done. And credit to those guys, they did. You know, like I said, the only guy is Hand, and I'm sick and tired of seeing the 12-6 curveball just hang up there all day and then never be thrown for a strike. And when it is, I feel like I can hit it. You know what I mean? And I probably can't, but it feels like I can hit it, and I'm a lefty. So I feel like a lefty, I own that matchup, and that's a problem to me. That's a problem.
And of course, because baseball is baseball, he gets the win, right?
I wish there was a guy like you saw, Robertson get activated, and they threw Nelson off the the active roster. I wish there was a guy to activate so we can put Brad Hand off of the active roster, but I don't think Knievel's coming back anytime soon.
Well, I saw Christopher Sanchez.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't know.
On the podium, and I go, what is Dirty Sanchez doing there?
Yeah, nope. I'm good. I'll deal with Brad Hand. That's one I do no part of him. What's your guys' thoughts on this? Philly Liverpool FC says actually you could pitch Wheeler game 4. It's on 4 days rest and then game 7.
No, not this time of year. No, to bring him back early for a game 7, I buy right into that. Game 7 on hands on deck, but I can't do that because I don't feel like I'm getting the best guy. If he gets to 80 and starts to labor a little bit, then how's he going to do on real short, 3 short days or 2 short day games? I feel like you don't get the same stuff because he's different. He's a power guy. Power guys like him, I need their legs. That's what I say. Like Nola to me is more of a guy you can run back out there quicker because it's more. No, he's got to be on, right? He's got to feel it. He's got to feel his pitches, right? But again, I'm not saying he doesn't use his legs because he does. You guys understand what I'm saying? But he's more location, right? Where Wheels can get away with some stuff because he's got a lot of a run on his ball and because he throws heat. So I don't know. Like I don't know. They know these guys better than I do, right? I mean, they know what they're capable of coming back from. I don't saying I hate it. I think it also depends on where the series is at that point too. Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's built for it, and it doesn't take anything away from him being a flat out stud or anything. Just the way his body is built and the way he had an injury, he had a sore elbow this year. He just they look when they get to in the 80 range, they're looking to get to the pen so fast, and he's like Dave Roberts. He's awesome. They can't get to the bullpen fast enough when it hits 80, 81. You know what I mean? Today, a harmless single, 87 pitches. That's my dude. I know it's not they always had a 3-1 lead. I mean, 3 games to 1 lead, so it wasn't desperation. But to me, I'm like, I'm good there. You know what I mean? Like,
semi-desperation to me too, though. Right? Like in terms of you're not wrong. Like a 3-1 lead is not desperation at all. But to me, it's desperation because I got to go back there for 2, right? And I don't want to do that for a lot of reasons. One, because like you said, you're winning that. You're winning that game at that time. Like go for the kill shot, right? And if he gets hit around, you get hit around with your dude, right? But I don't want to go. Like I said, when it's raining like that, he seems to have control of his stuff, right? The next guy, I don't know if he's going to have control of his stuff.
And that's the thing, because he did go for the kill shot. You know what I mean? So you're right. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where Topper's, the Pena do it again. Pena's amazing. Tie game.
Good.
Amazing.
I just turned it off.
3-run homer.
So good.
Yep.
So good.
Good thing I'm behind. He's still getting in the box. Cool. I'm going to watch it live.
He's better than Correa. I don't even care what Correa says. He's better than you. He's better than you, Carlos.
No, I was agreeing with you. Yeah, like I mean, he was. Topper was going for the kill shot. You know what I mean? But like you said, in the conditions, a guy that's 100 miles an hour with a nasty wipeout slider that's just coming into the game in those conditions. I would rather have my guy that's already went six innings and he gave up a harmless single. I'm gonna take my shot there. But
hey, 60 with a little chill, I got no problem. Run him out there because that's my dude. That's my dude. So Anthony's my dude too. In the rain, I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it because I feel like Wheeler's had control throughout those conditions today, right? And like you said, that slider even more, that slider too. Like that thing got JT twice. And if it wasn't a slider, one was definitely a fastball. or got him 3 times. Sorry, he spiked 3 in the dirt.
Yeah.
And was still able to like at least
3
get
in the
himself
dirt,
out
and then the one high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then goes and strikes out 2 guys.
Yeah, with absolute filth.
When he sort of found this. I mean, Alvarado couldn't put his hand up his asshole anymore. I mean, Alvarado was living in his grundle. You know, my mother-in-law's like, it's almost inappropriate. And I was like, you're right. I mean, he's up in there. I mean, Alvarado was so deep in to keep his hand dry. I mean, he was patting the freaking rosin bag all over his body. You know what I mean? It was like, you know what I mean? Like it was crazy. And I'm like, are we still playing? Like, are we still playing? Like regular? And I'm not a softie. You understand? I'm not Jay Hammond on Facebook, who then went and proceeded to block me because he wants to try to knock me down because you only coach at these levels. You don't know, and you don't know anything about umpiring. First off, you're already wrong because I know plenty about umpiring. I'm not telling you I'm a pro, but I know a good amount about umpiring. And what does it matter where I coach? I'm not telling you I got all the answers. I'm telling you I know how it works when it rains in a game of baseball. And he goes, well, I've thrown a football wet. Cool story, bro. All right, that's a game that's played in those conditions. And guess what? When it's pouring out, unlike Jacksonville, they put the ball in the belly a lot, all right, when it rains. Unlike the Jags when they came into town. So learn that too. I can go throw football in the rain as well. And I can throw a baseball in the rain as well. But I'm telling you, if I'm pitching, those conditions are difficult to pitch in. And they're scary for hitters. And they're scary for your plant foot. I mean, how many times did a Hall of Famer have to tell you about the plant foot today? Or how important it is? That's a guy who knows a little bit more about the game than I do, and he's telling you about it. So for me to say, like, don't love you playing that inning, don't love it, miss me with, like, trying to take shots at me. So I go in his inbox and I tell him, you guys will laugh. I say, swing on by with that disrespect. And then he starts saying, and then he says, you wanted the game postponed. Said, learn baseball, mister. I throw all the balls around in the wet because nobody asked for postponements. Okay, we're not asking for a free win here. You know what I mean? Like, end it now so we win. No,
Yeah.
I'm asking you for
it's league after 5, full game after 5.
I'm asking you to delay a baseball game. The behind the infield was atrociously wet. Did you guys see it? You guys all saw it. It was soaked there. Like, come on, guys. So, you know, don't act like you know the game of baseball. And then, like Sweep said earlier, you can't come in with the wrong wordage. You know what I mean? You come in with the wrong wordage, I start questioning if you really know the game. Like, if one of my kids goes, they're losing 0-2. Like, if my kids I coach, I say, I'm going to need you to fix that. I'm going to need you to fix that if you want to be a baseball player. I'm going to need you to switch those around and 2-0. All right, I always do. I always correct them. Like, Phillies coach are losing or Phillies are winning or losing 3-5. Like, what? What'd you say? Swap those 2 around or never talk baseball again. And actually, go play a different sport. Just immediately go run play a different sport.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing.
So sorry about my little rant there about that guy. But they're the guys that are like, what are you, a San Diego fan?
Well, speaking of inbox buddies of yours, Padres starter Blake Snell, their scheduled Game 6 starter on the Phillies. All the pressure is on them. We know they don't want to go back to San Diego.
He's right.
How'd that work out for
you? No, he's right. He's right. But, you know, he said stupid shit. We already confirmed this in the DM. You know what I mean? So, he ain't the brightest bulb.
No, you're right. We didn't know we would go out, but I don't think there was any extra pressure on us. You know what I mean?
First off, I almost agree with him because it's Philly. For us, I don't know about the team. You know what I mean? I can't speak for them. I just know I have my guy going, right? You know what I mean? Like, I got Noel. I'm good. Yeah, but it's been a little bit weird out in San Diego for him because it goes back to the game where he got hit in the 8th last year where he was cruising. I think it was the 8th.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I forgot about that. It was almost no-hitter-ish, right?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. And that's what, like, worried me about Game 2 a little bit. I forgot
about that game. You're right.
Because I told you guys, I thought he was going to get hit Game 2. I just did. That's more their style of guys that they like to hit. And that doesn't give him an excuse. So listen, you got another one, right? This team's been full of redemption. You know, I think he's going to come out Game 2 and he's going to throw his best game as a Philly. Yeah, you know, and he's a guy that will run up into the hundreds.
He has good memories against them recently, and I'm sure there's going to be people in the comments like Houston wasn't trying in September. Last time Nola pitched against the Astros, it was almost no hitter.
Yeah, a little different this time around for sure.
Yeah, a little different.
But I mean, listen, we talk about mounds. I mean, this stuff matters to these guys. I mean, people might laugh at it, but like the mound you pitch on, the environment you pitch at, that all shit matters to these guys, right? And to me, it's all excuses. But he obviously pitched well on that mound, not the atmosphere because it's going to be electric there. But he's pitched on that mound, he's pitched well off of it, into that lineup. So you hope that it translates in the game too. To your point, like, the mound thing definitely I buy into because these guys always talk about it. I really like throwing off that mound. Aren't they all the same?
The funny thing is,
60 feet away?
I am not a Blake Snell fan by any means, but I completely.
Some mounds are more sexier than others.
Yeah. Some are watered better. I don't know.
I completely agree with what Blake Snell was
Good
saying.
moisture.
Guys, hold on. Monster has a question, and then we'll get back to the Blake Snell in a second. We got a hard point.
Is that mine?
No, it's not yours. Relax.
Okay.
Yours. No,
I know you were wearing mine for a while.
No, this one was the one that was yours would be a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying?
I knew you had a sweatshirt under. I knew you had a sweatshirt under, so I wasn't sure if
We're live. I didn't want to say anything. I mean, I'm glad you did.
Sweeps and I gave each other a look. Sweeps and I are like,
I don't have two sweatshirts on.
Well, I don't think. To be honest with you, I don't think that my Harper jersey even fits me anymore. So, touche.
No, this is one of the ones I ordered before. I had it for a while. I have wore it to games, so maybe I am a fanboy. But what better time? I talk about guys with the posters above their bed, like relax and all the time because there, even through when we weren't winning games, right? There was a lot of fanboys that he could do no wrong, and all I ever did was just try to keep it in the middle, right, Greg? I feel like I always just try to keep it in the middle. I was never like a guy running them out of town. I said one thing this year. One thing. I said, if they don't make the postseason, what do? You might have to move guys or you might have to spend way more cigar money. You had one or two options.
Two things. Greg's the biggest fanboy. And you, like Goodfellas, you said a few things. You said a few things. All right, we don't have to revisit it. You said a few things.
A lot of things. A lot. Not even a few. A lot. But listen, at least I'm accountable. At least I'm like, hey, he shoved it right up my you-know-what. And he did. He did. And all those, I talked about all those question marks and concerns and that went on about him. I think I thought they were fair at the time, but he's proven them all wrong. And like I said, he's one more nail in the coffin, or really four more away from you can never say a thing ever again.
No tag there?
Because he's the winner.
That's terrible base running, sorry.
Who wasn't on second?
Alvarez.
Oh, I tagged Stott there too, Dusty, by the way, in the rain. I don't care if Soto's got a hose. I absolutely make you throw a baseball. Go hum that. Hum it.
I was wondering that.
Go throw it. If you make a great throw.
I thought a couple steps deeper he was definitely going.
Yeah, it was a little shallow. But I'm such an aggressive kitten. You know what I mean? Like I'm the kitten who just wants to be all over things. You know what I mean? Like I'm an aggressive kitten that I because it's not. Go ahead.
I wonder if he was gun shy from getting thrown out the night before on that bang perfect throw from Profar. Right?
Probably.
So I wonder if that might have played a part in it. Like, hey, I can't go nuts here. I can't get thrown out again. You know what I mean? But I didn't have a problem with last night.
The rain's a no-brainer to me.
I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, no, I hear you.
And he'll probably throw a strike. That's how it goes for me. That's a third base coach. That's how it goes for Tom.
I understand what you're saying. It's not a bar soap. I mean, things are flying all over the place.
Hold on.
Rangers threw an absolute strike. Dick high to Rhys.
No, he did. But it is those freshies are a little bar soapish. The new freshies are a little soapish. But no, I mean you're right.
What up, Don?
This isn't high school baseball. This is Juan Soto. You know what I mean? This isn't travel ball. This is Juan Soto. But I'm such an aggressive cat that I'm like, make the throw.
How'd you not pick that off?
Make the throw. Go be so jacked up you throw it in the third row.
Sorry,
yeah, no, they can't hear you. No, I didn't mean they couldn't hear you. I mean, I meant that came out wrong. I meant to Tom's point, like Dusty has nothing to do with that. That's an individual play. Like they can't hear you. There's 40,000 absolute maniacs there. You know what I mean? Like, that ball goes in the air. Like even if Dusty had a voice like me and you, and he was an aggressive cat, real loud guy. No way Stock can hear me and you go Tag! And no shot. That's just all him right there. You know what I mean?
Kicking around one time. That hit him in the nuts.
I definitely draw a throw though. I'm in for the draw and the throw because Soto lobbed it in because he didn't think he was going.
Yeah.
I think he airmails it if he throws that ball right there. I don't know.
Doesn't
Doesn't matter. I bumped before that though. Another situation. Gene handles the bat extremely well. I probably bunt in that situation. And Sweep said earlier, then you pinch hit for Marsh with like Vierling, who's a contact guy, and then maybe you steal one there. There's no guarantees, right? And listen, Gene in that situation can hit a ball in the gap. So I get it. But right there, because you're at home. If you're on the road, I ain't playing for no tie. But at home, I'm always playing for the tie to extend. Right?
And to your Soto point right there. Then pitchers are known to throw balls away. So a well placed bunt there. You put a little pressure on somebody, they throw the ball away. They throw the ball away in dry conditions. You know what I mean? So you never know.
To your point,
you
Ranger
put pressure on the defense. Put pressure on the defense.
If Ranger had enough, to your point, if Ranger had enough innings under him, Ranger would be a Gold Glove candidate on the mound. He's that good. He's that good filling his position. So
2 innings. I thought 2 innings is what kept him off that.
Yeah, what kept him off of there. Yup. And
crazy.
And he makes that play like easy. That's easy money for him. And then Soto's a Gold Glove outfielder too, so he makes it. But to Sweeps' point, why even more I want a bunch of score there was you still in the game at that point? I think he was,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Right. I make Darvish go pick that ball up and throw.
Yeah.
Darvish is good too. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he's a guy who could field his position well. But go pick that up off the wet grass and throw.
No, absolutely.
And at the same time, he was one deep digging his cleats too. So how much traction would he have had? Right? All these factors.
Yep. Slip. I don't know. That ball's wet now, laying on the grass. Not saying it's a bar soap, but that's wet, dude. That's easy. A bad grip because you've got to rush. Maybe you got to rush your throw. Who knows?
I understand looking ahead. If you got Mickey Mantle in center field, defensively, and I take nothing away from Marsh. Every piece of this Phillies, every man on this roster, every man on this roster has contributed and has played his part. So I'm not here to kill Marsh. Marsh, it's like
Ryan's taking his Marsh jersey off.
When we talked about it earlier, though, when Greg was saying, "Hey, I don't know if I make that move because Marsh is ice cold right now." Not the song. What's better than cool?
Ice cold.
I only do it because I'm going to Vierling, and Vierling might strike out or pop up too. I just have more confidence in Vierling there, to give me a fly ball. If I'm going to do it. But
Astros winning, by the way.
So as a manager, if you're not going to do it because you're worried about the guy afterwards, which we've all had those thoughts, like, oh man, do I roll the ball here? The next two guys are on the struggle bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They only need a single. Well, in this case, they only need a fly ball.
There's one thing that Marshy's got to do in this all season. Get in the cage that says 100 plus, 90 plus, and see a whole lot of fastballs.
Go up in the zone.
And
up in the zone. He don't hit the fastball up in the zone at all.
Josh, we talked about it earlier. That's something that he did on his own. He's 0 for 18. Lefty. He's, I guess he feels he tried to take it with him. I think, Ranger falls off on the third base side, so I think he thought he could take it with him, and he can try to create some pressure that way. Just a bad decision. We always tell our young guys, fair or foul, give yourself another chance. So if you're going to try that, I don't mind the idea, Grissom, especially, since you're scuffling, but that's got to be pushed to third base on the line, fair or foul, give yourself another chance.
Yeah, I don't hate it because of the conditions too.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't called for. It was just, he did it on his own.
Yeah, and I don't mind the decision either in terms of granted Ranger fields his position well. We just talked about the conditions, right? We talked about all that kind of stuff. So you're trying to put pressure on. You're trying to steal a base hit. Listen, he throws that ball away. Grissom, Trent Grissom's a hero. I like the idea when you're struggling, but like Sweep said, if you feel like you're that bad, just ask for a pinch hitter. You know what I mean? Like, or that conversation should come up before you head up there. Like, hey, I'm thinking about trying to lay one down and steal and bait and get a hit. Well, actually, come back here. You know what I mean? I don't know if Alfaro's on their bench. I don't know if he's hurt, but it's a guy who can lose a baseball. So, I don't know. But he's been terrible. But to your point, he was trying to get a base hit. I know on the postgame show, they're like, did they think there was no outs? And I can't imagine he didn't know how many outs there were.
to your point right there, because I totally forgot until you said that. Is Big Country Alfaro hurt?
I don't know.
He was on the roster. He was on the roster.
No way that dude doesn't play over Nola. You got to be shitting me. He's got to have pictures on somebody. I don't give a shit if he's a butcher back there or not. Get out of my face with that. Holy shit. I thought he was hurt. I thought he was hurt.
I mean, he very well may be hurt. He was on the roster, though, right?
Yeah.
But I know Melvin mentioned, or at least they brought it up on the broadcast, that they mentioned trying to get Nola a day off because of the 5 straight. Well, now he's got a lot of days off.
Yeah, give him a day off because he sucks. But yeah. Who are you, Bob?
They actually kept 3 catchers. They had Alfaro, Campuzano, and Nola.
First off, Alfaro, from the times I watched San Diego, especially a lot in like August when I was in Florida and I had the ticket, I thought he got better back there. Their broadcasters were even saying like,
he's not a butcher anymore. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like he worked hard at it. And the bigger thing is, dude, he hit a baseball country mile. I mean, I don't understand. Like, listen, Arnone, good defensive guy. I get it, right? Probably good guy to play 2-3 times a week. But the rest of that time, I don't know how like Sweep said, what pitchers does he have? Because how's Jorge Alfaro not their air quote number 1? They should have 2. It should be a combo, right? Yeah. Certain pitchers might want Nolan, right? I get that, but that's fine. There's games to be played throughout for him to play in. But when you got a better hitter of the two, when it's clear as day, and that's not even calling Alfaro Pudge Rodriguez. I'm just saying he's a better hitter than him. It's clear as day.
83.
Yeah, I mean that guy killed you. He killed you.
His only hit was the one against his brother.
Yeah, and the only hit in the Mets series was a hanging freaking curveball after he couldn't even catch up to the heat, and he hits a curveball for a big hit. So he's a guy who can't hit the fastball enough. He can hit his brother's fastball, but that's it.
So I just checked. Alfaro was available, and the last time he had an at-bat was October 5th.
Well, Melvin's a jackass.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So not only has he, I mean, we didn't see him once this entire series, correct?
Yeah, that must be the Mets. No. He must have gotten a bat in the Mets.
Yeah, I think Game 1 Mets. I want to say.
Yeah, I mean the only pinch hitters we saw, it was either Josh Bell or Will Myers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Josh Bell should never bat from the right side ever again. Like if I'm Josh Bell, I just give that up. Call that a day. I don't know his splits. But I can venture to guess he's horrendous from the right side. Horrendous. I've not seen him get a hit from the right side from me watching. And Josh Bell kills us, but he kills us from the left side. The left side, I feel like I'm pitching the Bonds in his prime. I said it today. Remember, Ryan? I've been saying it all series. Like, don't throw that guy a pitch to hit. Don't give him a pitch to hit.
Game one, when it looked like Alvarado was going to give up, they were going to come back and win in the 9th, the Padres. Game 1, Josh Bell comes up. I walked out of my house. I'm like, I'm not watching this guy beat us. He left me leave the house.
And guess what he did? Alvarado threw a ball to him. I mean, it was a great pitch, but it ended up being a ball, and it's swing and miss. He's a swing and miss guy, but if you groove, he's going to make you pay. And he makes us pay all the time. I mean, I feel like he's like, how those guys, certain guys own teams. He literally
that Game 2 home run still hasn't landed. The Game 2 home run, it's still in the air somewhere.
And he's a guy, too. You look back 3-4 years ago, he was scuffling with the Pirates. He was almost out of baseball.
Yeah.
And then he found his swing, and he started just becoming a hit machine, because before, early in his career, he was all or nothing. He was one of those guys. And he finally actually started to learn how to hit. And he's actually he's a real good serviceable hitter right now.
When they got Soto and in that deal, I was like, oh, okay, that sucks. He's going to another National League team. Then I find out they got Josh Bell too. I'm like, are we freaking kidding me? Because we knew that was going to be a team that if we made the playoffs, we were probably going to see the Padres at some point. So I'm like, oh my God, they've got that guy too.
Well, I mean, even with that guy, right? I mean, even adding those 2 guys, the Dodgers owned them when they played them. They had their number, and they're right there. Like if you compare lineups, like their lineup is nothing. It's not as good as the Dodgers, right? It's just not. But I feel like they have better starting pitching outside of Clevenger. Clevenger's another guy. Shouldn't be allowed back in San Diego. Shouldn't be allowed back. I mean, that's horrendous.
Deal? I'm going to bring up that deal. San Diego gave up a lot for Mike Clevenger.
That's a bad deal.
By the way, sorry, Flyers lost 2-0 to the Sharks.
And we're back.
So glad NBC felt the need to cut to their pregame show instead of the the celebration.
There's a lot of head scratching out of Melvin. So takes nothing away from the Phillies outperform on the field. It was just, like I said, these guys, I understand loyalty, man. That's, I'm a big loyalty guy, but
when you win,
exactly,
you're not questioned.
Exactly. But at some point, Grisham's 0 for 18. Like, you can run around, Profar can run around center field. You know what I mean? Like Will Myers can play. Will Myers, give Will Myers a start or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like Grisham's running out there. He's just making such a difference out in center field. You know what I mean? And then, you save that bullet. Will Myers is probably your best bat off the bench. So you save that bullet. I understand starting the inning. Okay, you're down 1. So, but knowing that if a couple guys get on, you got Grisham who's struggling, Nolan who's struggling. That's probably I'd probably go Alfaro there, to lead off that inning and then save Myers for that spot if 2 guys get on, I don't know. It is what it is.
Marcus, thanks for chiming in.
Talking baseball.
Appreciate
Well, guess what? Guess what? On the other side of it, right? On the other side of it, not to the level because these players are better. But Hoskins and Schwarber were scuffling coming into this series and at the beginning of this series a little bit before Schwarber's homer, right? Those guys were scuffling. And Hoskins had the big homer off Strider, but besides that, both of those guys were scuffling. And credit to Rob, we questioned it coming into this series. Do we switch it around a little bit? Do we move it? And he kept his guys, but they're different guys, right? I mean, they're guys that are at the top of your order. We're talking about guys that are at the bottom of your order for a reason, right? And that's the difference. But listen, if they hit and they win this series, God don't get questioned for it. So, but there's always going to be question marks on both sides throughout the series. Robbie had a couple of this series. It didn't come back to bite us, right? It just didn't. So next series, you got a good manager over there, but he's also, he's had his share of blunders in the past, but you got a good baseball team and a good manager if you end up seeing Houston. So you got, from Robbie's side or where he's sitting, he's got to have his best series to date. He's almost got to be like 99% hit rate on his decisions, right? And those guys got to answer the decisions. The manager's one thing. Guys got to come in and get outs. And he seems to have a really good feel of his guys for the most part. Everybody's going to miss a feel or two here and there. That's just sports, right? We all have had it from our coaching days, not even at this level for Jay Hammonds. Okay. You're not even at this level, but we've all had our miscues on like shit, maybe I shouldn't have went that guy, but it is what it is. But this is going to be his biggest test on pushing all the right buttons again, for sure.
So here's that deal for Clevenger. And just in here, Cleveland Indians trade ace Mike Clevenger to San Diego. Hard-throwing Clevenger represents a frontline starter long coveted by the Padres. So the Padres got Clevenger and an outfielder, Greg Allen. Gave up Cal Quantrill, Josh Naylor, Austin Hedges, and then 3 minor leaguers, Gabriel Arias, Joey Cantillo, and shortstop Owen Miller.
Yeah, and those guys probably stink, but the other guys are big leaguers.
I know Quantrill, Naylor, Hedges, and Miller were all on the.
Miller was okay. I'm talking about the prospects.
Yeah, he was on my fantasy team for a while.
I was talking about the other prospects, like the prospects, the other 2. I never heard of.
I don't know about Arias and Cantillo, but I know Miller at least was up and playing in the playoffs.
Okay, well, I mean, listen, Cleveland's good at this. I feel like they're another organization that's good at it. I mean, Clevenger was good at it for a minute. I felt like,
I think this was after he broke curfew, I think, or something around, because this was in the 2020 season, which was the COVID season.
Yeah, they didn't want him in the.
I think something happened.
Yep.
Yeah, he went out with it might have been
him and Plesac went out.
Plesac, yeah.
Yep.
He went out with Plesac, and they didn't want him back.
Rubbed a lot of guys in that room the wrong way at the time because they got they're telling we're allowed to only do this and this, and you can cost us games, seasons.
Yeah,
guys were annoyed. Guys were trying to play baseball, so it just showed to the character of like I don't care guy. And guess what? Here you go. How's not caring, Mike? Right? How's not caring, pigtails? Because you had a 4-0 lead and a winner go home game. And the fact that you allowed that to happen in the first inning is comical to me. It's comical to me. That just tells me everything I need to know about a guy. That guy would not get on the plane. He'd be traded immediately for whatever I can get back. It's just, I'm telling you, that's how it works. That guy's gone. That guy's gone. Gone. Because now you got a body of work of not only not only being a little bit of a selfish guy per se, but stinking. So you're selfish and you stink. See it. Because his earned run average this year was like 3.2, 4.2 or something.
Yeah, it was high. He didn't have a good year.
No. I mean, I don't know his numbers throughout his career. I know he had some good years. Before going back, especially with Cleveland, I feel like he had some good years to sort of equal getting that price tag for him, right? Don. Go ahead, Greg.
I mean, career. Where's his ERA? Career 3.39 ERA. Yeah, in Cleveland, I mean, 2.71, 3.02, 3.11, 3.18. Or in that 2020 season before he went to shit. I mean, he was 13-4 in 2019.
What was he
starts.
What was he in 2021? When he went to San Diego?
He missed 2021. He didn't pitch.
Oh, he was hurt. Okay.
No, I think he was hurt. And then this year he was 7-7 in 22 starts. As you said, 4.33 ERA.
Yeah, I think he got Tommy John as soon as he got to the Padres.
Okay. So this is a wash year for him per se. Anyway, then
that makes sense because in 2020 after the trade, he only had 4 starts.
Yeah, he came
for the Padres.
So that's a big guy. That's a big little extra in your chamber for next year because he might be better. He might go sort of revert back maybe, or he never does, right? Or whatever. Don. I've turned down, and people can like hate on me for it, but I've turned down game 3 and game 4 tickets. Free. Turn them down. I'm good. And the reason I'm good is 08, I got all my taste. Right? I got everything I could have. I was at the Victorino Grand Slam game. I was at another game during that postseason, and I was at the clincher game 7, both halves. I mean, in 08, it was 2.5. I was at both of them. So I feel like I'll never, this time's going to be better because it's recent, but I experienced it. So my TV's cool. And that's not like shots that people will go like, I got to go, be loud. I just, coming back, Don, from injury, like coming back from a concussion too. I didn't think it was probably with all the alerts on the phone. I thought it was probably smart for me not to do that. You know what I mean? And maybe not the smartest place to go. It was like Tua coming back and playing. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not the smartest place for time to go. But I hope people that never got to experience it get a chance to experience it because the atmosphere goes up every series and as you go through it. So, like, I know Ryan was at a game recently, but guess what? That goes up. You know what I mean? You talk about a game 4. A World Series, it's even more electric. And you're like, how, Tom? It just gets better. It somehow gets better. Now, if you're winning, if you go to a 1-0 loss, you almost want to jump off the 400 level. You know what I mean? Where do I jump? So
I was a DS game in 08. That was the only one I went to. That was the Brewers series.
The what game?
The NLDS.
NLDS. The divisional series.
What game?
Oh, it might have been 1 because we had home field. I think it was either 1 or 2.
Did we win that game?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. No, good. I'm glad you got to experience the dub there.
But I haven't gotten a World Series one now.
Yeah, it's had a little harder, but I didn't need it. I didn't need a babysitter. You know what I mean? Like I didn't need it. It was 2 buddies of mine that hit me for game 3 and game 4, and I just was like, hey, listen, I appreciate it. Go find somebody that hasn't tasted.
What are those dates?
Probably cheaper to go to Houston, Greg. Honestly,
probably
cheaper to hop. I mean, Houston's a great sports, a good baseball town, in my opinion, too. But
that's my regret right now. It's not even solo. Not going to game 1 in Atlanta. Biggest regret. Even solo.
But there's nothing to regret because you watched it.
I did watch. No, I did watch it.
You didn't miss it.
To be there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Baseball's different. Like, baseball's a great place to go for a game. You know what I mean? Baseball.
Cheap as those tickets were. Like, if I'm just buying one, I'm getting nice and close and still not costing me a whole arm and a leg. You know what I mean? Because Braves fans are fugazi, right?
I feel like if I went to a game now, right, like at this point, like NLCS, etc., I would almost want to go with a group, right? Like I wouldn't want to go with 2 people. I almost want to go with a 10 spot. You know what I mean? I really want to feel it with the people I want to like feel that moment with, right? Like I was lucky Game 7 of the World Series or whatever game. It wasn't Game 7. It was game whatever we clinched. Five. The split that I got the first half with my mom and I got experience the second half with my dad. So
that's awesome.
I sort of got it with everybody, you know, and so I just don't unless I do it again. And then the after party of that, I had a bunch of buddies at that game too, right? And we all fought in the streets together. So I got it. You know what I mean? I got that feel. Now I want to taste it again. I just want to taste broad again. I don't have any need to go to one because I feel like I'm mushed too. Stay home, Tom.
And like you said, if Cass was a little older, you would go.
Oh,
I mean, he's too young.
We're sprinting there.
He's too young. That's all.
Second mortgage. You know what I mean? We're talking second mortgages to get there because
Cass is gonna be that little kid behind the Fox San Diego guy going, yeah.
Or he'll just tell me he doesn't like baseball, which is probably would be my luck. You know what I mean?
And then Tommy's joining Joe Girardi on Plastic Bag Watch.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah. Has anybody checked on Girardi?
I don't know.
I mean,
I do feel bad for the guy too because
I don't think there's any chance he's still breathing. I think somebody's got to check on him.
I don't think he's a bad guy either. Like that's like the thing. Like I don't like. Part of me is like, damn, Joe, I feel bad for you because when we hired you, we like to hire. You know what I mean? We all like to hire. And listen, some guys just don't respond to certain guys. I mean, you know, I don't know. I wasn't in there, but I think the big thing is playing the kids.
And it is so evident how much they play for Topper. It is so evident. Like when you see the celebrations and how they mob him first, right? You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Well, Joe doesn't seem like a yeller though. Like Joe doesn't seem to me like he gets on guys, but maybe he did too much, you know?
I mean, all these guys are sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
All these guys are starving. Like they can't sit still. So he still finds his way. He's on TV. I mean, I think the Phillies are still paying him. He's still on TV. So, you know, I hope at one point he says, "Hey, it was time for a new voice. Congratulations to the Phillies." You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know if he did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that really stuck out to me, I don't know when it came out in the process of like, I don't know if it was after he got fired or right before. When Castellano said, like, yeah, I've had 2 conversations with the guy. Like, I know Nick's not really a talker. Like, I think we kind of understand that. Like, he's not really much of a talker at all. But when he said that about the manager, like, yeah, I've only had 2 legitimate conversations with Joe Girardi ever. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's something. Maybe okay, that's a little different.
That's weird.
That is real weird.
Yeah,
that's worse than spitting out ice cream. Jeez.
Yeah, at least he talked to his guys.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, we talk about that in football with some of these guys.
Yeah.
Who don't go relationships with the guy. Like, you know, I was always told, you know, starting off in like, I'll just give an example, like in the travel ball coaching world is like, don't gain relationships with people. And I always disagree with that because I need relationships with my players because if I don't have a relationship with my player, I don't know what gets them to tick, right? Or what kind of situations they can be tough in, et cetera, right? So like I think that's important at every level, right? Like you can't just walk the halls and not say a word to anybody. I think that's awkward and weird. And you know, these guys are going to battle for you, right? They're an extension of you. So if you're not, you don't got to kiss everybody's ass. You understand what I'm saying? You don't got to walk. Hey, Bryce, it's so great to see you today. You know what I mean? I don't need you running.
Just be personable. Be
a human being. Be a human being and understand that. Like I bet you early on in his career, Joe wasn't like that. I guarantee winning creates egos. And he didn't win that. He won one, right? Like winning creates egos. Maybe it creates ego. Or maybe Nick's a douchebag. You know what I mean? Like Nick sort of looks like a douchebag, but I'm not saying he's a douchebag. Like, you know what I mean? He just has like, I sort of say, Nick sort of looks like a jerk off.
He's got standoffish vibes. He definitely has.
Yeah, so maybe Nick just doesn't talk to nobody. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, Nick has a lot of explaining to do anyway.
And Joe realized he bought Ben's house. He's like, I got to separate myself from this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm bound to get struck by lightning 3 times in a row. I mean, don't fucking buy that guy's house. I mean, I'd rather live in a cardboard box than buy Ben Simmons' house.
Right. It's bigger than all the talking. It's not. Talking to somebody is one thing, right? And that's important, right? But it's show me you trust me, right? And I think and I said it earlier on, like playing the kids and saying bye to Didi paved the way for one. It brings what younger guys bring, and in a long season, and it's some excitement. right? It's a little bit of a youth movement. Guys have fresher legs. They're ready to party every night at 24, right? Guys are ready to go out every night and party. So it's different. And then what Joe never did was give his bullpen really roles. And I'm not saying Rob came in and gave out exact roles, but it was pretty clear that Sir Anthony became your closer, right? However you want to say a closer is. He became your closer, and that role and putting guys in the right spots in the bullpen was different. So he also pushed the right buttons. And I think the other side of it is, I'm not calling Joe a bad manager. What I'm saying is when a guy gets fired like that, it's only on one guy now, and that's all the guys playing. So you're next. And I think that does matter. Now, to the level they played at, absolutely not. But at the beginning of that, yes. That little run right off the stretch, that's looking in the mirror talk, right? That's bigger than Rob Thompson. That's, look, we ain't playing enough. We just got this dude fired because we've stunk. Yep. And then you get going. Now, guess what happens? Rob effect sort of takes place after that initial wear off. And that's where he comes into play, and they continue that run, right? You know what I mean?
Well, in my opinion, I think it comes down to two things. And like, this is just based off of what, Nick Swisher had a really interesting piece. And Nick Swisher's
about time.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, he's not by any means like word is gospel by him, but he said something that I even think Mariano said something. Yeah. And he's actually willing to like throw guys under the bus, like give it his real opinion. He's not going to give you any fluff, which I appreciate. He was talking, it might have been on MLB Network, like Joe's, founding network, Mr. Girardi's network, that even going back to the Yankees when Thompson was there with Girardi, that Girardi was never like the vocal guy. Like, yeah, he was fielding comments and questions from the media. He was kind of the main face of it. But if there was ever an issue where they needed advice or they needed a guy to talk to, it was always Rob Thompson. So I think the mixture of two things were really what sparked the end of Joe Girardi here. It was one, to all of our points, what we said so far, which was the Girardi thing. It was so robotic. It was like, hey, I don't feel the need, and this was Joe Girardi's voice before he was even fired, that I don't feel the need to really have that kind of relationship with every player. I think it's more to leave certain guys alone, let them do their thing. Well, how'd that age for you, Joe? At least in that sense. So well, I think
it's two ways, right? I think when you're under a guy for so long, like he was, you can sort of take the good on what, and Rob's been sitting behind guys for a while, right? So you can you have a time to reflect on that many years of being around the game of baseball as behind the guy, right? And you're able to say, you know what? I think this style works. I think this style doesn't work. You throw it away, but you'll put your own personal touches on it, because if you're a good guy like he is, right, that's going to resonate throughout the clubhouse. But you also sort of, if you're a smart baseball guy, you sort of have a feel on like, hey, I think this works better than this. You know what I mean? And then you put your own fingerprints on it. But I think sitting behind a guy and seeing like maybe his style wasn't working with this group, you're able to go with a little different style. Now, it's got to be a genuine style. So obviously Rob's a genuine guy.
I think above all, regardless of what his so-called relationship or lack thereof relationship was with his players, I think the under Girardi was just because he was checked out. I mean, how many times, forget about press conferences where it looked like he was half asleep up there. I could argue he was kind of checked out when he signed here in the first place. Because he said himself in that press conference when he was introduced as the Phillies manager, he was not sure if he ever even wanted to manage again.
Yeah, like, I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. And I think, no, I'm just saying, like, to your point, like, I think he's a good guy. And I don't think he necessarily was the reason we weren't playing well. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know, but I know one thing. He stood in front of that microphone every night and defended those guys for their piss poor play. So every night, he never put the blame on, you know what I mean? Like, he stuck up for those guys. So, I don't want to act like he's a snake, because he wasn't. He always protected those guys for struggling, because a lot of guys were struggling. He had to do a lot of protection, right? Oh, yeah. He did a lot of protection. So I think it really comes down to, like, when you have a lot of talent like they do, and somebody gets fired, it becomes, dude, it's on us now. It's on us, and I think that little rallying cry helped them.
I think it's a couple things, like you said. It's answer Josh's question, it's not, Topper's very stoic. I mean, he's not, jumping up all over the place. He's not, this high energy guy. It's just, when you're an assistant or you're the bench guy, you have your pulse on things, especially if Girardi is a little bit standoffish, what I mean? So you have, that's one thing. He has his hand on some different vibes and some different, how guys are. All right. The other thing is, he allowed either him or Dombrowski, they allowed, these young pups, they allowed the daycare to start playing, you know what I mean? And, they cut Didi, they cut Adubel. It was time, even though the big contract guys weren't playing well, they weren't going anywhere. All right. But guys that were expendable, it was time to go. And it was time for a youth movement. And that's where the energy came. That's where Topper brought the energy, right? By allowing the young guys to go do their thing. And that's when Bohm flourished, right? Stock got to play every day. Verling started to, was able to get more starts and more bats, and then they brought, and the low key trade was, for Sosa. Like I said, not just a nice utility, a bench guy, a guy that you can plug in there, a plus defender, late in the game if you had to, you know what I mean? But, Bohm, obviously improved his defense, so, I wouldn't mind seeing Hoskins out there, getting Hoskins out at the end of the game. Move Bomer over there and let Sosa play first. But it goes to the point of, knowing your players, you also try not to, lose guys, confidence wise, So, you're hoping that you need Hoskins to hit for you. So it's like, do I really want to yank him at the end there? I don't know. Like defensively. So it's one of those slippery slopes. But the more you talk to your players and the more you know your players and the more you communicate with them and you tell them, hey, this is the plan, right? Like, when it gets late, this is the move we're going to do. You know what I mean? So, we need you. You're a big part of what we're doing, but, the last, 6 outs, after your last at bat and, and it's late and we got the lead, we're going to switch you out for defense, something like that. And I'm sure those conversations happened, and, that's what a leader does. And that's what, a leader of men does, not just, we're not talking about, little league guys. We're not talking about, even though it applies to all levels. It's just, when you're dealing with major leaguers, a lot of egos, a lot of contracts, a lot of big money. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to communicate to these guys.
You got to be able to get through, right? And some guys you'll never be able to get through. So like, I don't know. Like Joe Girardi isn't like some people it seems like out there, he's like public enemy number one for. He's not for me. I'm in a good place. You know what I mean? I'm in a good place. Things happen for a reason. I liked the hire at the time. The firing, I didn't know if it was going to change anything, because we were watching bad baseball. I think I speak for all of us. We had no idea that it was going to do this, right? And credit to Rob, he was the right guy. And not every time is it the right guy when you do that.
I was just going to say that.
You fell in the shit.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to add to that. Like, that's the thing, like to your point right there, 21 and 29 or whatever it was. And then when you hire within, that's when, and especially, he was with him in New York. So originally, that's what everybody thinks, like, oh, this is just a Girardi clone, you know what I mean, or a disciple, you know what I mean? But the guy never got a chance to lead his own band, you know what I mean? And he's shown what he can do. Leading his own thing. And that's the exciting part for Topper. You know what I mean? He just wasn't, the same guy. He wasn't just a yes guy. You know what I mean? He was a guy that was loyal and played his role all those years, whether, wherever he was, Yankees here. And then, guy got a chance to, drive the car himself and he shined.
And credit to John Middleton throughout this. And credit to Dave Dombrowski throughout this, because one, you got to open up the checkbooks, but two, you got to go get the right fits. And when you're going to a World Series, it obviously tells me you went out and got the right fits, right? Nick didn't have the best year, but Schwarber had a monster year for this baseball team, right? So when you talk about the signings, you were like essentially 1 for 2 in those signings, right? And the ability to say bye to a guy like Didi, to be able to see it, to say enough's enough, I will eat the money for the year. You know what I mean? Enough's enough. Bryson can play. He's better, right? And those moves matter, right? And then when he goes out and he makes the move for Marsh and Syndergaard, they're not going to get all stars, but you're going to get guys that can play right now. and help your ball club out. So, I think Dave Dombrowski, a lot of times when you go to a World Series, your GM gets the accolades first, right? Essentially like putting the roster together and what he did. He's not number one on my list, but he did a really good job over these last 2 years, in my opinion, of starting to put together more talent around Bryce Harper. And I don't think they're done, to be honest with you.
They could be better. They could be better.
I don't know who's back. I don't know who's what, but I would not be surprised if they go out, because they're reaping the rewards. Like I told John Middleton, he would if you go to the postseason, right? You're making the money more than you could imagine you could make. Okay, so I smell a Trey Turner here. That doesn't mean I don't know what that means for Bryson. He might end up being a second baseman. That's fine too.
And then Gene's gone because he's up for a contract anyway.
Yeah, and I like Gene a lot. So I mean, I don't want to. That's not a guy I'm trying to rush out of here either. Because I like Gene. But if you got a chance to go get a guy like Trey Turner, and he's one of Harper's really good friends, a guy like Correa I'm good on, and I like Carlos Correa, but I'm good on Correa. Turner's to me the one that I would move on from the Gene for a guy like Trey Turner, because he's a stud. But the way Gene's played, it's like hard, right? It's like, damn, that's a tough one. But
there's one other player. There's one other player I would not lose sleep over moving Gene on for. And it's like Xander's, I know another name, Xander Bogaerts is going to be out there.
He's a stud too.
It's Dansby Swanson, because that guy is the definition of a winning ball player.
Oh, I would love Dansby Swanson. I don't know if he would ever do that game. I feel like he's a Georgia guy. I feel like he went to school. I feel like he grew up in Georgia.
Yeah, he's from
so. I mean, I feel like he's a tomahawker for life. But we thought that about Freddie.
Oh yeah, they got to bring him back. Yeah.
But guess what, right? I mean, how about this? You can see Dansby going to L.A. with Freddie and Drake coming over here, and then the Braves will find a guy in their pipeline that's a fucking pimp, and he'll be playing shortstop for him next year. So, I mean,
I'm so torn. Because you're right. You can't necessarily turn down a Trey Turner, right? Or even like a Xander. Like if that was something to happen, you're like, let's go. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Bryson has proven this year that he could be the guy if you let him, and then go spend that money elsewhere too.
Yeah, but he's also so good he can play second too. Now you're correct.
Yeah, well, you can switch that. I mean, when Turner got traded there, I know it was briefly, but Peterson, he played second there. Peterson.
I don't know who's got I don't know offhand who's got better range. I don't know.
Seager played short.
Right, I don't know who's got better range. I don't know if Turner or Stott does. I don't know whose arm strength ranks out better. I don't know. But if I have those two guys up my middle in some fashion, I'm in really good shape. So
he kicked like 3 balls against the Padres too. So
second it is.
I'm just saying.
If you really want the gun to my head, I'd rather have Xander Bogaerts, right? But the relationship with Harper is what connects Trey Turner here to me.
And I'll take Trey too. He has. We're going to see how much pull Bryce Harper has.
Thanks, Billy.
Because if it's Trey Turner, then it's like, and I'm not saying him being best friends with Bryce Harper is the only reason why we want Trey Turner. Trey Turner's awesome. But it's like, oh my God, if we give him a boatload and he comes here, because we have to remember too, Xander Bogaerts, that's a Dombrowski guy. That's a Dombrowski guy from Boston.
No, that's fine, but remember this. We're talking about boatloads. You still got to pay a guy a lot of money, so I'm not dismissing that in any stretch, right? But he sees what's happening here.
Sure.
He sees the environment of what the fan base is rocking, all that kind of stuff, and obviously hears from guys, if he's friends with guys on this team already, how electric this is. That has some pull. It's not the end all be all, but it has some pull that maybe take let's say $30 million less.
Well,
right?
like you said earlier,
Something like that.
Well, and this is why you got to go, you got to cut the nets down, because then you turn into you got to make some moves. You bring him in, then you're going to be they're going to have the most $100 million man. They might have the most $100 million guys in the game, even more than the Dodgers. Holy cow.
I love that. Top 5 market talk. And it's the right guys too, right? Like that's another winner to me, right? That you bring over here, in my opinion, a guy like Trey. Xander is too. But it's different than what the Yankees do, Yankees go get losers to me. They go get like Josh Donaldson at the end. He's a piece of shit. And the list goes on like guys that I just don't like there. I've never been a big Giancarlo guy. There's certain guys I'm just never been a fan of. He can hit a ball a million feet, but I just not like it's a one-trick pony. That's what he became. He became a one-trick pony. You hit a ball at the ballpark, and he'll go strike out 15 times in a row. So I don't want those types of players. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to turn into like long ball or bust because Gene's not long ball or bust, right? So you want to make sure that situation ends up being a contact guy too. And both Bogarts and Trey to me are big contact guys too. They're not just guys who can lose a baseball. Xander's even a better hitter. I mean, Xander might be the best hitting shortstop in baseball that nobody really talks about.
Yeah, he's so good.
So good. Yeah. But that wasn't the Boston's problem this year. Boston couldn't get anybody out. So it wasn't their hitting. They swung and fine all year. They just lost 9-8 every night. Nick Pivetta running out there is their ace.
So here's a scary thing about the potentially 2023 Phillies.
Can't
right?
believe we're doing this. Look at us. I mean, we're a problem.
3, 4, 5. There is only, outside of club options, there's only 6 guys that are actually under contract. Now, there are a ton of like arbitration, pre-arbitration guys, but those numbers aren't decided
What
yet.
are you doing? What are you doing right
Why
now?
would you do that? Why would you
No,
say
I'm
that?
You're talking about breaking up the Brady Bunch.
No.
What are you doing?
Sounds like it.
No.
Sound like it. No. Don't you know? You just gave us bad information. I hope that's wrong. I hope it's another bad Google search out
Go
of you.
pull up Spotrac.
I don't like to hear that this many guys are not like we got something special here.
No. But all of the young guys are all like arbitration and stuff like that. So they're still here. But I'm saying like not a lot of their numbers aren't factored in right now. So that's going to be, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be a really big factor coming in, especially when you factor in us win the World Series, right? And everyone's getting bonuses, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Greg, even I'm not doing it. You're already a trade machine. Even I'm not there.
I'm not a trade
I was
machine.
going to say, that's Brodo's thing.
You
Yeah,
guys brought up Trey Turner. I'm still living in the
That's not a
Bryson
trade.
Stott
That's
world.
a signing. That's a signing. That's not a trade.
And I brought up Trey Turner just saying how this baseball team could even get better. That's
No, you're
all.
absolutely right.
That's all. I mean,
And
because
you can look at the starting pitching too, right?
if you don't make the playoffs, you're not getting Trey Turner, in my opinion, right? But the fact that you made the playoffs and you're going on the World Series, it's not like he's coming over and that signing is a sign. Oh, Trey's going to get us over the top, right? Type deal, right? You're already really good, so you come here and you just sign a big deal and you fit right in. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different pressure signing.
No, absolutely.
I mean, but to your point, because you didn't contradict yourself. You said you don't want to become the Yankees. Until you get that guy, you actually are. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I want to be the
home run or bust. Not like you said, except for Gene and some other hits. You know what I mean? But this postseason, they've been the home runs have been absolutely monstrous. That's the biggest thing.
Oh, we are the Yankees in terms of that shit.
They're not solo meaningless ones. You know what I mean? Their home runs have been monstrous. You know what I mean? That's what you want.
We sort of are. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
said, besides Bryce, the averages are paltry. Hey, whatever works. Like I said.
I want to be the Yankees payroll, though, for sure. For sure. I'll pound the table for that all the time. But Dave Dombrowski's better than Brian Cashman, in my opinion. So I feel like if he has the payroll the Yankees have, he's gonna not all the time, but I feel like he'll do better than Brian Cashman 98% of the time. 98%. And hire a better manager because Aaron Boone's a jackass. Aaron Boone and Dave Roberts are the two worst managers in professional sports that win 100 games.
I was telling my dad, Aaron Boone could be the first manager to win. He's not going to win a World Series and still get fired in the offseason. That's how bad.
Brian Cashman still thinks that they have one of the best bullpens in the league. He doesn't realize like, oh wait, we need bullpen guys? What? Like, I swear to God, the guy works like 2 years behind.
Yeah, let's give an ace $1 billion, right? You know what I mean? And even with him, they would run to the bullpen as quick as they could. If it allowed, like if Cole, got to a point where like a guy got on in the fifth, Aaron can't get out there quick enough. I mean, Dave Roberts, even when they won the World Series in the bubble, right, per se, that dude sprints out of the dugout like the third inning of postseason games. Like every time, you can't make it up. As soon as the guy gets on base, and he gets a little pressure. He's like, gotta go get another guy. He'll pitch 8 guys in a postseason game. It's amazing.
A 60-game season was literally the only way Dave Roberts could ever win a world championship, period. Like, good for you, but it's like 60 games. It's not enough time for him to make a mistake.
Yeah. Almost was. I'm sure if I look back, he probably almost coughed that one up too.
Oh, I'm sure it got weird. In there.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He's a loser.
I want to ask you guys and the fam at home, especially.
Well, you guys answer first, and then tell me when I get back. I gotta pay. I can't hold it.
Where was everybody the last time the Phils were in the World Series? So 2009. Where were you? What were you doing? All that stuff. Greg, I'm afraid to ask you.
What is that? 14 years ago?
2009.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
13.
was
I was a lot younger.
2008. I was in a rental house in Magnolia, and we had all of our friends group come over for every game. Like, we partied it out every game. That was 2008. 2009, it might have been in Blackwood, and then we just had the same thing there. Friends came over, everybody brought something different, and we watched the games together and cried together after Ryan Howard went down by the sniper.
Where were you, like, not in life, but like, were you like in college or something? Like,
I was 28, I guess, 29.
Oh, okay.
So I was definitely out.
Sweeps?
I'm a 33-year-old, and I had no hair. So 33 was still no hair. But, yeah, good times. Don. Freshman year. Oh, my.
Wow.
What a pup you are, Don.
Yeah,
I saw something on Twitter the other day. I'm trying to find it while we go through this. They compared the Houston front office versus the Yankees front office and, like, the years those people were hired and put into place. And it's like, no wonder, like, Houston is so much better than the Yankees in terms of, like, just baseball today, right? I mean, like, your scouting department is probably still scouting without analytics at most of the time, right? You know what I mean? But I can't find it. I saw it the other day and I laughed. What about you, Ryan? What were you, 10?
About that, I was 8th grade. Middle 8th grade. You're close. Jake, I was still in middle school the last time we were in the World Series. Casey said this topic is making me feel old. Ted was 23. San was 7 or 8. Joshua was a senior in high school. Ted was very specific. He said, I was at my brother's house. Stephen K was in middle school. Yeah, I figured I would ask that question just because we did it the last time the Phillies were in the playoffs, and that was 2011, so a couple years removed. Down says, I still don't understand why Houston needed to cheat. They had so much. Doesn't everybody cheat?
Yes.
Like
I mean,
Houston got caught.
Houston obviously took it above and beyond with, like, the
buzzers and remote controls
and stuff like that. But,
yeah, they went.
But yes, everybody from second base tries to read the signs and give tips to their batters. Hey, this is coming, right? You know what I mean? Everyone does that, but yeah, they just took it above and beyond with the buzzers and the trash cans and whatnot. But they obviously have proven that they don't need it.
No. Well, like you said with the Yankees,
we'll just spend his life.
Yeah, happy for you, dude. I hope that aged well.
How crazy is a guy like him and Mickey Moniak potentially get a ring?
Well, you know what I was going to say?
That was a terrible day for her, Double.
Yeah.
By the way,
find out in a couple of years.
Did you see he showed? I thought it was cool. He showed up in San Diego to say hi to the boys.
Well, I think he lives there.
Well, yeah, he's from California.
I think because he was on MLB Xfinity and he was saying like not Xfinity, Sirius XM, and he was saying he grew up as a Padres fan, but now I don't know if he's being truthful. He said that he's rooting for the Phillies. I don't know if he was just saying it because he was talking Phillies.
He still obviously got a lot of fans, a lot of friends.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's what he said. He said like he came up through the minors with a ton of these people.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say earlier with the Dombrowski thing, in one weekend to go from Gregorius, Familia, Moniak, Herrera. I'm sorry, Mickey, that I got to put you in the group of those three. Even Didi, because Didi wasn't a bad guy. So sorry to both of them. I got to put in the group with those two. They went from those four to Sosa, who, at the very bare minimum, he's had a couple key hits in the St. Louis series. I know Greg loves him.
Braves too. He played against Fried.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Syndergaard, who had nothing else, he gave you, a really good outing, or whatever you want to call that, in the last series, and then he did well. He's pitched well whenever you've called upon him. Obviously Marsh, who was very good in the regular season and had that big game in the postseason, and Robertson, as much as he scared us half to death, he's had some key moments also. So like going from the previous four to those four is nuts. And a lot of those were like long-term moves. Like you didn't get Brandon Marsh for this season only. You got him because you have him for 6 years of control. Same thing with Sosa. I think you have him for 4 years of control.
I found that chart I was talking about. So it says, here are the senior members of the Yankees and Astros baseball operations, along with the year they are hired. And this is coming from a Yankees fan or a Yankees whatever. He said, if you're wondering why the Yankees always seem to be behind the curve. So you got Cashman, obviously. He's been there since 86. Astros general manager has been there since 2020. So fresh blood.
Well, I'm sure, correct me if I'm wrong, well, no, I can't say that. I was going to say somebody probably poached the former Houston guy.
Could be. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's obviously reasons why some of these are so recent, but it's also why they seem to be one of the best teams in baseball every year.
Oh, yeah, they're proactive, and the Yankees are reactive, 100%.
Assistant GM 2001 for the Yankees, 2021 for the Astros. Another assistant GM 2005 versus 2022. VP of Baseball Operations 2007 versus 2019. Amateur Scouting 2001 versus 2015. And then Player Development 2007 versus 2022. Tell me, I know you just joined. That's like the Yankees versus the Astros upper front office. The years they were hired versus each other, and it's like what the Yankees seem to always pick the wrong guys, as you say, and be behind the curve. Pretty crazy.
Tom, the question I had asked was, where was everybody back in 2009, the last time the Phils were in the World Series? What were you doing? How old were you? Et cetera, et cetera.
I've no comment. So I don't know what I was doing. I think I was driving for like a mail company, dropping all packages. I think I was doing.
I got a package, people.
At that
it was Ace
time,
Ventura.
I don't know. I guess I was like 29, 28, something like that.
26.
26. 14. It's 14. Wow.
We just celebrated you the other day.
Yeah, I think that's what I was doing in 09. So, yeah.
So, Double, I'm not putting that on the screen, Double. It's freaking hysterical when I'm not putting it on the screen.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
If it's the Phillies Astros in the World Series, the Eagles play in Houston on Thursday, November 3rd, the off day between 5 and 6 of the World Series.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty crazy.
People are going to try to take over there, I'm sure.
Well, that's the off day, so they're going back to Houston.
And he's going to wake up one morning, half A2D is going to be at his front door in Houston.
Andy!
Hey, friends. Bill, can we just celebrate the Phillies, please? Can we not do this? Can we just take an off day with this, Bill? I don't know to answer your question. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not doing this yet.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute before I start smoking them. They've had a terrible start. So let's see where it goes.
Might be on a crumb of the day coming to you soon.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they figure it out here. It's still extremely early. They're a must win though early. Can't keep losing games.
Thanks to the Phillies, Eagles, and even Flyers for not putting our attention to them right now.
Yeah, they're lucky. I mean, they are absolutely lucky.
Because imagine a bye week and the way it's been in the last, right? No Phillies, right? No Phillies in the playoffs, a bye week, and the only other team you have going is albeit a good start, hot start Flyers. Like the Sixers are getting smoked this week.
Yeah, they're definitely in everybody's crosshairs for sure. It'd be overreaction even more so, right? Sure. And rightfully so. I mean, not the start you wanted, but let's see. I mean, it's hard this early, right? It's hard. It's hard to start wanting to trade people, etc. Just give me a minute. I can be right there. Right. Or fire people, whatever the case may be. I don't, I'm not saying that's the right answer or wrong answer. I just need a little bit more time.
Don, it's Bryce Harper. Don.
Yeah, Don, come on, bro. It's one guy.
He's having the best single postseason in baseball history the last 15 years. He's 1-1.
Yeah, Sean, if you fire Doc today, nobody notices. And again, I'm not Ken Rosenthal in it, but I don't know. I don't know what that changes. I don't know if Sam's the guy, that takes over, if that changes it. I don't know. But these guys, these guys need to step up too, at the end of the day. And they've played terrible defense to start it off. You hope that's some new things moving and shaking. You hope. But bigger than that, I mean, your bench has been anemic. So the reason you're losing basketball games is because your bench is anemic. That's why you're 0-3. That and defense is why you're really 0-3. So, we'll see where it goes. We'll see if that gets better. I know the great D'Anthony Melton last night had a goose egg. So in 18 minutes. So I thought he was a guy that was going to bring some offense. But again, early, let guys fit in a little bit and let's see where it goes. Hopefully better. I
agree with PJ because it's just gonna get angry. It's just gonna get depressing. So that's enough. Apparently, no Sixers, no soup for you.
Apparently, an Astros fan got his ass beat in the bathroom. They were rolling a gurney to pull him out.
Shocking.
Oh, Yankee Stadium, huh?
They're so nice.
How'd they let those Phillies fans in there?
Yeah, bunch of Phillies fans in disguise over there.
And once again, no awareness. You're going there, and like I said, you should be able to go anywhere. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, as a street smart guy, you know where you're at. You know what I mean? So maybe just wear a regular shirt. Keep it underneath. If you sweep, then do your thing, whatever you want to do. But maybe wear a regular shirt, and don't go to the bathroom by yourself. You just know that. You just know. Well, they're morons. They've been drinking all day. They're morons.
The Philly fans, when I was there in Game 3, it actually surprised me because I thought it was going to get interesting. So I'm up in 4-11, and these two Padres fans, and it's Tatis jerseys too. It can't even be a Machado. It's got to be Tatis guys who's suspended for the next 2 years, right?
The epitome of a crumb.
Yes, exactly. You can't even have a likable guy. You know what I'm saying? I hate Soto, but at least wear a Soto jersey because at least he's there. At least he's in the building.
Yeah.
But regardless, right? You're already in poor taste anyway. They get out of the tunnel, they turn around, and they start pointing the middle fingers at all the Phillies fans. They're taunting it up.
Oh my god!
And this is an hour before the game starts. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, is my phone charged? Okay, let me get it ready because I'm gonna be filming a fight. I'm filming a fight tonight. They nonstop taunted. Everybody was cordial. Of all times where I'm like, listen, I wasn't saying a fight should have happened, right? I'm not gonna be that guy, but I'm like, okay, they were.
But a fight should have happened.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. for legal purposes, it shouldn't have happened.
And
For
two
moral
idiots-
purposes,
yeah,
it wouldn't have been the worst thing in
no,
the
no,
world.
two
to have.
idiots asking for it, absolutely. So we don't know what happened tonight, but yeah, absolutely. You got guys that you're asking for it, then you're asking for trouble. It's going to find you. Chances are it's going to show up on your doorstep. All right, so
That's what I always tell people. Like, when they ask, what do you do as an opposing fan? I said, you can cheer for your team, and if they score a touchdown or get a big hit, cheer for your team. I said, if you start just going overboard, then you just don't know what's going to happen. So it's funny you say that, right? Like they were like, we're asking for it versus just being a normal fan. I said, if you're a normal fan, most Philly fans aren't going to kill you for cheering for your team in enemy territory. You know what I mean? Like, if they score a touchdown and a first down and you're just up like, all right, let's go. But if you start, hey, these guys fucking suck, blah, 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 then you're asking for it.
It's kind of like a perfect parallel to like,
what up, Greg?
Just like outside.
Let's go, buddy.
Just outside of like going to a game in Philadelphia as opposing fan. It's like, if you don't act like an idiot, you're not going to get in a fight. Like, you could say that about everyday life. If you want to avoid getting in a fight, don't be a friggin' idiot. If you're going to be a friggin' idiot, you're probably going to be in a fight. And I was shocked that they were like obviously there were some middle fingers going back at them, justifiably so. But I'm like, oh my God, if we lose 3-1, these Padres fans better get the hell out of here. Because morals are gone.
Winning cures all, right?
Oh yeah. But again, even when they started firing back, like Rhys Hoskins dropped the ball, and I think that ball's still rolling to foul territory, by the way. Like, the freaking Padres fans are jumping up and down. They're in the aisles, running up and down the stairs. I'm like, dude, just stop. Just stop. Like, what are you trying to do? You're paying these tickets to get in a fight, or you just have no self-awareness whatsoever.
Yeah, they haven't been in the playoffs, I think, since 1998. So.
First time.
World Series, anyway.
Or no, I think it was NLCS sweeps. I think that was the last time they were in the NLCS.
Yeah. World Series was 98 when the Yankees swept them.
It's a shame.
Philly Elmo apparently is on Broad Street banging and playing the drums.
Well, I saw people were climbing the poles. I saw that.
Sure that. Yeah.
So far, I haven't seen anything bad. Haven't seen anything bad wise. Everything seems cordial down there, which is great.
Good. The scene outside of the stadium, right outside of Xfinity Live, was something.
Yeah,
it was something. It was like mini Times Square over there.
Steelers dropped 3 interceptions tonight. That's the first time that's happened. I think they have a stat for
the one towards the end.
I think they have a stat for everything. There was like
when I went to the bathroom,
that hasn't happened in such and such.
I went to the bathroom. It felt like the Dolphins were ready to kick a field goal in the third quarter. It still is the throw, and then they fumble or they go for it on fourth and not get it.
I probably had the Yankees on at that point.
Okay,
I gotta be honest.
The score was the same, and Pittsburgh had the ball. I'm like, oh my man, I expected them to be down 9.
Well, no, no. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It was a while back.
Yeah.
And went for it, 4th and 1, inside draw to Chase Edmonds, and he got stuffed.
Okay.
Great call.
I got to be honest. I forgot today was Sunday. I forgot there was still NFL on.
You're not missing anything.
Who's playing sweeps?
Dolphins
Steelers right now.
Is Tua there? Is he playing?
Yeah.
Well, he's playing. They dropped 3 interceptions, so his stats are better than they should be, but nothing to write home about. Of course, first drive was nice, and then he reverted back.
Don said he has this question for everybody. He addressed this to me, but he says afterwards, same question for everybody.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate you.
What type of fan are you? Are you a loud or chill fan? I guess you mean like at games, Don? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I'm a chill guy.
But in scenarios like where you need to be loud and up on your feet, I'm there.
That's what I'm at. Don.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm in somebody else's ballpark, I'm really chill. I'm just watching the game. Some claps. I'm not freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to show anybody up. Just soaking in the game. At home, it's a different story.
Yeah, I'm a problem in my basement. I've probably gone through 20 remotes. In the last couple of years, give or take.
Yeah, at home is a different story. At home,
I love
all over the place.
I love firing remotes off walls around here, Don. So,
I'm a yeller at the TV at home. Where's that pitch at? Different things like that. Football. Football. We're yelling too. So
it's like
KZ at a game. I am now. A game like I'll be loud when needed be. Somebody Harper's homer today, I'd probably be freaking out. That's at home though. Jumping up and down, but. Again, it's somebody else's stadium. You just want to go through the motions.
Yeah, it's like a rule. I think Tom, you and I follow. It's like in the closed quarters. That's when things get crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like when we're in the confinements of the four walls, it gets nuts. But when we're out in public, it's like okay, it's pretty chill.
Yeah, you get excited when you got to get excited. Out and about. I think we are going to be like the national team, I would think, in this series that people want to win.
Yeah, I agree.
If it is Houston.
Yeah.
I would think that we'd be more of the rooting interest. Not that matters to anything. That does not happen to Philly often. So.
No, last time it happened was when we faced the Patriots.
I think it's a likable group, too. I think it's a likable group. Which matters. And you got one of the faces of baseball.
Yeah.
So I think that's big for baseball.
I know Frank Thomas is huge on us going forward. Just by watching the post game stuff, you know what I mean? He was huge on don't sleep on this team.
No. I mean, at this point, you can't on anybody, right?
Yeah.
You get this far, but they're legit, man. Like I said, I don't want to take out September, but you take out September and you go back to when he was hired. I mean, they're a problem.
Yep, absolutely.
They're a big time problem. Not saying that Houston's going to have one, but I hope they do. We'll see if the Yankees can try to extend this a little bit and maybe extend it a little bit more. I mean, it is got to get hot. If they got hot, they could.
Was that last guy hoping that tonight counts as 4 wins? Was that last guy? He said Yankees Phillies would be interesting. They win tonight. They only counts as 1.
Sweeps, I just sent you a text. Sent you a text about that exact same thing.
It's crazy.
Well, God bless you too, Jude.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend.
Yeah, God bless. Not God bless the Yankees, but definitely you.
It only counts as 1. They don't have 3 guys in their pocket. It only counts as 1. That's crazy.
Sweeps, there's some firewood for you.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Trey Mancini.
Did not die a hero. I like when a wood bat dies a hero.
4 more, Colin. 4 more. 4 more wins, baby. Then you can really, we can really get emotional. And I saw somebody say they got emotional after today. Emotional after today doesn't do it for me. No. I got more to do. I'm extremely happy. I'm ecstatic. Yep. I watched a million highlights over and over and over again. So I'm jazzed up. But you really want to move that needle. You win a World Series. This is all great, but this is again, like we talked about earlier. This is a payroll. That it's a lot of money. So I mean, it's not this like underdog story. These are guys that should be here, and it's hard to get to a World Series. But this is a payroll that should be here, and they're here. And now it's like, you know what? You don't know how many chances you have to do this. So you got to go take care of business. Easier said than done. But there's no reason that they can't beat the Houston Astros. And I know somebody said Ralphie and Noah were right. Phillies in 5. Yeah, I think they were delusional with those picks. I still do. You know what I mean? Like I still do. I think I speak for everybody. This was an evenly matched series coming into it. And really, like Sweep said earlier on, it's a 4-1 Phillies win in this series. It's a lot closer than that, though. It really is. So, like, I wouldn't puff that I want to be a puffer fish, and I called it in 5. You know, I don't know if I would do that because this definitely didn't feel like 5.
Yeah, I mean, even that's Bob Melvin mentioned. He thought it was an inning here, inning there, away from being obviously going back to San Diego. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll tell Bob. They can thank Bobby.
Yeah. How's Josh Hader doing in that inning?
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
PJ loved to run through a wall.
PJ.
Love to run through a brick wall. If they win it, I will. I'll just run through a wall. We'll see how it goes. As fast as I can.
Can I tape it, please, for science?
Sure, I might die. So might have something there.
That there CTE.
Come on, I want to be I want to be nervous. I want to be nervous at this point. We're good. You're nervous because you want to win, sure, right? But I wouldn't be scared of them. Like in terms of like you can't beat them.
Yeah.
Like they're really good, but we can beat them.
No, he meant the Padres series.
Before. Yeah, before. He was nervous like today because he didn't want to go back to San Diego.
Yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous for this series a little bit too. Like I thought it was 7. Them beating the Dodgers was huge, and I thought again we were really evenly matched up. We just had the big hits,
yeah,
right, and there's usually the difference. How many times did we say like got to hit in this series? Got to hit. Well, that's even twofold in the next one.
Well, I know Schmaltzy like brought it up a lot, but every time Soto or Machado came up, there was nobody on base, right? So even if they hurt you, it was only a solo.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas when we got our big hits and our home runs, they weren't all solos. There were some solos in there, but they weren't all. Right. They were two runner, 3-runner. So their bottom of the lineup and our ability to get their bottom of the lineup out was so big. So that way, if there was ever something happening with Soto and Machado, they were up there with either themselves on base or nobody on base.
You know what's beautiful also? I just checked. Or maybe you guys said it earlier when we looked at the schedule originally, but maybe it just sunk in for me. Their first off day is a Sunday, so we're going to have Eagles football on a Sunday, and we don't have to have that clash with Phillies.
That's nice.
It's nice.
Yes, it's very nice.
And the next one's on a Thursday, the other off day.
Mm-hmm.
And the other Eagles day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they play on my birthday.
Who does?
The Phillies. On Tuesday.
Are you 26 like Jordan Davis?
No, I'm 28.
Nick
No,
has
the
a
big
question.
4-1.
Really old now.
I'm ancient.
Question, Nick said, if the Phillies win it all, do you think Bryce will be the most loved player who ever played here? Close, man. Close.
Yeah. I always think there's a Mount Rushmore of, obviously Utley, Iverson, B-Dog. Those kind of guys, I know Iverson didn't win, but, he was beloved. But
Yeah.
it's a great question. Absolute question. And the answer is probably yes, especially if what he's done this postseason and if he carries you to a title over the Astros. Shit, yeah.
Yeah, he's got like the workhorse like ability that Utley had, but Harper's way more vocal than Utley was, and also he's a way better player than Utley was. And that's not to shortchange Utley. Utley was awesome.
Yeah, I think he would be. I mean, he's already pretty beloved now. So, I mean, I think if you win it all, I think that just amplifies it. And it's the most, it's the most recent. So
Right.
when it's the most recent, it's easy, right?
Now, is he talking just Phillies or is he talking like all the teams? Because all the teams, that gets interesting.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I mean, I think Sweeps had definitely
incredible.
two or three of the
Kid.
Mount Rushmores up there, right? You know what I mean?
Kid's incredible.
Definitely.
What a trade. Nice work. John Mozeliak, Jordan Montgomery. Idiot. Harrison Bader's such a flat-out stud. That's his 5th homer. My
Oh,
God.
Does he go yard again?
Oh yeah, and he's got 3 hits on the day.
I literally just
He's
switched
been
to the
all
football.
over. He's been all over.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
They're not going down because of him this time.
Oh, that was Hector. That was Neris.
Yeah,
I literally Sweeps. I switched to the football literally 1 second before. You
and yeah, like I said, to that guy's question, especially if Harp has a monster World Series, and if they even if they came up short, you could still he'd still like Utley in 2009. I think he had 5 homers,
Yeah.
right? 5 World Series homers. Tried to do everything in his part to go back to back.
5-4 Yanks, bottom 6.
Kair, it's close, man. I'm telling you, it'll be close. I mean, Jason's beloved here, but that's close.
Yeah.
It just depends, like, I guess, what your favorite team is, right? Out of the two, like, what do you love more? I guess I don't know. It's tough. I mean, the Eagles fan base is gigantic. Phillies is pretty big too, though. So, yeah, I just think it depends on what you like.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore? All 3 of you guys, as Philly guys. 3 or 4 guys. And Chase only won 1 too. So, but I understand what you're saying, Ted.
That's a great question, Sweeps.
Those Phillies teams underachieved. I'm not saying it's his fault, but
Yeah.
Well, Iverson's on my Mount Rushmore because he was big time.
But to Ted's point, I mean, Chase did define the city. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not that
Harper kind of does too.
Yeah. Not that Harp does it. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. But you're right. It's not like it's a prima donna, right? You know what I mean?
Jimmy was a stud.
He was so good.
You
Joe
know,
was wild in the moment, though.
he did. It was
Joe
stud.
was wild, but he was so good.
Howard was a stud. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, AI definitely. Just trying to think guys who won, right? Outside of him. I don't want to have a whole. I don't want to have a Mount Rushmore of guys who didn't get over a hump per se.
It's weird. I've got 3. My 4th one, it's like a TBD because there's a guy that's already on it, but Harper might replace him.
All right, who's your 3?
It's Iverson, Howard, Kelsey, and right now I have Utley, but if Harper wins it, it's Harper.
Not a bad 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would have Iverson, probably Dawkins, because I mean, nothing against, just to be different, nothing against Kelsey. More of a seeable position per se than the center. Even though he's a Hall of Famer too, when it's all said and done. And then because you went Howard, I'll go Rollins. I mean, I think Rollins was the catalyst. He started it for us. And I think he sort of went under the radar on how good he really was, especially to those teams that were winning it. It's from 2007 on. I mean, Howard was the carrier. Rollins was the party starter.
I think.
And he's a Gold Glove defender too. So it wasn't like he just did it with his bat. Guy was money. Guy was money at shortstop.
I think what gets overlooked too is Jimmy was such the focal point that he allowed the guys like Howard and Utley to kind of go on under the radar, at least like media wise, right? He was the guy that was boastful, right? He was the guy that was out in front of the media, we're the team to beat, right? And so that way he put the pressure on himself to allow those other guys to kind of be themselves and not have to be in front of the camera all the time.
Well, when people argue the importance of Ryan Howard too, there's a ton of reasons why that whole stance is wrong. But the biggest one of all, if you just want to look at things negatively, is when he got hurt in 2011, when he was done, they were done. I'm not just talking the series. I'm talking about that era. That was it. That injury marked the end of that era. And his emergence as a superstar and a power hitter like he was the start of it. Everybody, Utley was awesome. Hamels, obviously Rollins, they were all great. But
Jeez, you forgot about Hamels. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was that guy was the definition of a ball club carrier.
No, it really was, and that's what I when it's all said and done, it's probably the right decision. He's probably not a Hall of Famer. I hated him not getting enough votes to at least continue. You know what I mean? To get another year and see what continued years might have with him. Just because his run was so historic. You know what I mean? He ultimately didn't do it long enough to get there, right? So I think the ultimate decision is the correct one, that he's not a Hall of Famer, but that run, and of course, because we were in the middle of it. But when you look back at the, historically, I mean, that run was so good. It's a shame that you're right, Ryan. When he was done, he was done.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, Albert, who was able to pull a year out. You know what I mean? Like, where it was like, hey, let's revitalize for a year and kind of send ourselves off on, on the sunrise. You know what I mean? Like, Albert was able to do that from a physical standpoint. Once Howard and the legs went, he was just toast.
Yep. Yeah, after the Achilles, it was never the same. The Achilles really got him.
Yeah, of course.
I'll go real quick. I'll go AI. I mean, that's gonna be a staple. I'll go Doc. 2017's outside of Kelsey, there's really no one like that kind of embodied that city. So I'll go Doc. I agree with Rollins and Howard and Utley, but I'll throw Hamels on there just to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hamels is my fourth, so I'll throw. I was always a Jimmy guy as much as I was a Howard guy. I was always a Jimmy guy, so I'll go Jimmy and Hamels. Hamels is probably first off though for Harper, or Joel if Joel gets a dub here, right? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's another guy that, like, if he gets over that hump, it is definitely got to be talked about, right? But
he's beloved.
He's got to get over the hump though.
Yeah, he's beloved, so that just cements it,
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of boos though. AI ever get booed?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Crazy. He did. Yeah, he did. No, I mean, listen, the boos are warranted. I mean, I think it's a little premature boo. But you're paying money, boo away, right? I mean, I think you can save those boos for, like, give me 35 games and then let's boo away. But that's, I'm not the one paying the money to be down there. So boo away. You're getting a bad product when you're down there. Be my guest.
Yeah.
I'm just basketball's hard. It's like baseball. Like, it's hard in a way to jump off the cliff, after a few. You can point out concerns for sure, but yeah, you have to let it. You have to let not the process. I don't even want to say that. You just have to let it play out. You got to let it play out a little bit, and then you really know, like, hey, we got a problem here. This is worse than we thought.
For the people getting mad at us for, like, not putting Dr. J, I wasn't alive, so if you expect me to put him and Schmidt in there, you're wrong.
Like, I love those guys, but I only had 1 or 2 years of both of them. Yeah. That I actually watched. You know what I mean? Like,
listen, Mike Schmidt was my favorite player when I was 5. Okay, it's a long time ago. There's been guys that I have been with me through my watching and fanhood that are going to stand out a little bit better than Dr. J in a highlight. You know what I mean? Like, love the Doc, but calm down.
And it doesn't have to be just about winning too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Schmidt was. Not a lot of people like Schmidt. You know what I mean?
Dr. J.
He
not as a player, but Schmidt was a dick.
He was definitely a dick.
And first off, Allen Iverson's better than Dr. J.
Barkley can be on there. You know what I mean? They didn't do nothing, but obviously, Charles, we're talking beloved. I'd probably have AI, Chase, John LeClaire, and B-Doc. You know what I mean? I love me some Johnny LeClaire.
I forgot me the big 88. He's on my honorable mention. 88. Lindros for me.
Yeah, no, I just think Iverson's a better player than Doc. So I mean, Doc was awesome, but I mean, Iverson was a better player. I mean, overall, more skilled per se. I guess I don't know. I was not a shot at Doc. I didn't see him enough.
Yeah.
Barkley was awesome too. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably tell you AI is better. So I mean, if you're gunning to my head, I'm probably gonna tell you he's better than both of them. I mean, any of those guys get a scoring championship under their belt?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know. I hear you. I don't know if Doc was really good. I mean,
No, he was. I'm not
you
jabbing.
guys are young, and I'm young, and I'm old, but I was young when he was doing his thing. But Doc was really good.
No. My comments are not like these guys aren't Hall of Famers. My comments are just like I think this guy's a little bit better. Or I mean, Doc was electric too. So I mean, Iverson's different. It's hard to compare, like especially guys that are like different style games too. Barkley's like a rough and tough. Freaking give you 15 boards a night, pound the glass. Different. Barkley was special too. I got to see more Charles play than obviously Doc. But AI packed the building. Not that Doc didn't, but like you get AI and 4 scrubs, and that building's packed to watch that guy.
And you end up in the finals. Yeah,
4 of those guys. So I don't know. But it just depends on what age you are and what you watch. That's what I'm saying. Like Doc should be on people's list. Charles should be on people's list. It just depends when you watch. There's no really Eagles going back in the day there.
I mean, Doc Holliday was very short window, but Holliday was beloved.
Yeah,
big time.
Where would you guys put Foles?
Good night.
I mean, Victorino's beloved. Foles is weird to me. Because of how the dynamic of the fighting between the 2 quarterbacks from the fan base. I think it diluted what he did and how he was with us for a while, and he was like a homegrown guy who went away, came back, right? I think those things, and then he's not a star, right? Like I think if he was a star, he's obviously on the list, but he wasn't ever a franchise quarterback. He's the guy that went on a money run against the best of all time. I mean, I think he should always be a Mount Rushmore honorable mention,
sure,
but never be on anybody's list.
Yeah, it's like he deserves it. Not deserves, but him and Doug, honestly, are like on their own tier together. Just because, like, whether you want to call it lightning in a bottle, fluke, whatever, like it was those two will always be tied by the hip because of what they did, in those 5 weeks, let's just say.
Yeah, Don, we mentioned Johnny Leclerc, or Eric Lindros, or guys that I know, Lindros was a love-hate with a lot of people, but he was special for sure. I don't know. Flyers are weird. Flyers are weird.
But again, a team never won anything, right? I mean, they were always there, but never won. So it was tough. It's tough, right?
Yeah, Bernie Perron's on there for a lot of people,
Yeah.
Say there's a Nick Foles by Greg.
Oh my God.
But I get it. Like, I get it. That's the first Super Bowl we ever won. Like, it's only between Foles and Kelsey. You're not putting anybody else on that list, I don't think. Lane. I mean, Lane's better than Kelsey. I mean, Lane's essentially better than Kelsey when he plays. He's more important to our team, at least, when he plays, in a weird way. But both of them, it's like, I mean, people might Lane more. What gets Kelsey the nod over Lane is the speech, right? The speech is what takes it to a whole nother level.
Yep, famous. Yeah. You'd have never known about it. You would have just known he was a good center. You would just have known he was a good center. But
Hall of Fame center. Didn't know we could cut those promos. You know what I mean?
The speech in the outfit, took it to a whole nother level.
Same with Utley, right? Utley didn't say a lot of words, but when World fucking Champions came out, he became a folk hero. Not that he wasn't already, but it goes to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Burrell could be on there. I mean, if you're a guy that likes to slay poon.
If you're a guy that likes to get your nose wet, you know what I mean? Per se.
You like to dip your toe in, all right? Pat's your guy.
But an awesome baseball player, like an awesome hitter. I mean, that dude's such a part of that team that goes it's never talked about. That's the number 1 pick in the draft, right? Had all the big accolades that were supposed to come with him to change our franchise. And he's actually part of the team that changed our franchise and won us one. And a big part of it is he had 30 bombs that year. Nobody talks about that. His on base percentage was awesome because he drew a ton of walks. He almost got hurt as a hitter because of his patience. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because he saw so many pitches, he almost got hurt that he didn't hunt enough. Because if he really went out and didn't care about striking out 200 times, that's a dude even back then could have hit 40 plus. But his approach was he saw a lot of pitches. He worked a lot of counts, and I don't know what his on-base percentage was in 08 and 09, but I venture to guess that it was pretty damn good.
You know, it's funny. I just saw a name pop up in here. I would put Nick Foles on the same tier, if we're doing tiers, as Brad Lidge.
Well, Brad Lidge is a great name.
And their success was historic, but it was for that very small amount of time. Like, I know Foles was here for the Chip Kelly years, and they had, they went to the playoffs the 1 year and all, and he had the 27-2 season. But when you talk about winning on the biggest stage, those two had the most historic but small success in Phillies history.
Yeah, Brad had a good 09, obviously not like 08. He had a good 09 season too, but it wasn't the same. The only difference is Lidge had a consistent full year of being dominant, where Foles had one game of being dominant per se. Yeah. His playoff run wasn't like Minnesota was okay, but remember, that's a Patrick Robinson pick. Changed the whole dynamic of that game. The Atlanta game, he threw one off Keanu O'Neal's freaking forehead.
Well, that's the Keanu O'Neal play is the most important play in Philadelphia sports history.
The game's over.
Yeah. Well, no, the Super Bowl doesn't happen. The NFC title game where we put up like 90 on the Vikings, it doesn't happen if the flukiest bounce, maybe in the history of sports, off of Keanu O'Neal's knee, because that set up the field goal.
It was right to Torrey Smith.
Yeah, that's the only way we got the 3. Yep. And if without that 3, all the Falcons need is a field goal when they're on the 1. Like it
changes.
It's bigger than the Zach Ertz touchdown. It's bigger than the Brandon Graham fumble. That is the most important play in Philadelphia sports history, bar none.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Foles was good against Minnesota, but he had a couple big deep balls, I feel like, but nothing like he did in the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl was the real dog and pony show per se.
Also remember too that Patrick Robinson pick was so early in the
game,
that it allowed Nick to just relax, right? You know what I mean? Like, because you're right, it changed the whole game at that point.
Dude, they drove twice down and turned the football over.
Yeah,
I feel like there was a strip sack by Barnett or somebody
in the third. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, we scored points, but
Chris Paul got the strip sack early, didn't he?
He got the hand in, and that's what happened with Robinson.
And then Barnett's after that.
Mm-hmm.
But listen,
back to Pat Burrell, right?
Yeah.
2008, 102 walks, 367 OBP. 2007, 114 walks, 400 on base percentage.
That's a good one, yeah.
He wasn't with the team in 2009, so those
he wasn't.
The last 2
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Batted 250, 256. But 30 home runs, 33 home runs. So no, absolutely, he definitely walked almost as much, if not more, and he struck out.
Yep,
He tried to,
and hit 30 plus both years.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's monstrous.
Yeah.
Don, you got to have Rip Hamilton on there. But I know Mr. Big Shot. I hear you.
No Pavel.
I just can't believe this is happening.
I'm still in shock. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm still in shock. Like, it's like, this doesn't happen to us. You know what I mean? Like, this way. Well, maybe it does this way, right? You know what I mean? We talked about Phillies. I mean, Tommy, you were notorious that year of just, hey, one more week. But not only that, but streaks end in mysterious ways, right? I mean, you said that literally every show that we were on. And, hey, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be pretty. Sixers prove that we don't have to be the number 1 seed, right? I mean, you can be the number 1 seed all you want. Sixers prove that doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? All you got to do is get in and be playing well when you get in.
Wow.
And
oh, my God.
Ground ball, power feed, throw it away.
I just switched off the game again. What is happening?
double play ball, power feed, thrown away.
That's a Gene, hold my beer. But no, Greg, you're right. And this is another one. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. We're hot. We believe too. Not that Houston doesn't, but we're a team that believes that we can play with anybody. Yeah. So, that matters. Now, if they come punch you in the mouth and win 2 at home, that can change real quick, right? On how you feel as a ball club. But if they go do the same damn thing they did here and throughout all these ones, and they go split it, right? if they go split, I think the same thing happens again. A 2-0 would get me really nervous. Even though I'm coming home for 3, that gets me really nervous.
Oh, for sure.
But this baseball team is good enough to go play with them. Okay? They're very good. They're not unbeatable. It's not like they can never lose, but you can't do what the Yankees have done, which is strike out 10,000 times. Make sense? You can't do it. You can't do it. So, I mean, I think we're a little bit more better of a contact team than the Yankees, but I'm not saying by a lot. I don't know the strikeout numbers for both teams. I would say they probably strike out more than us, but I don't know by how much. But I think we're also streaky like they're streaky.
Schwarb's got 200, so that hurts.
I would think Giancarlo is right there.
Yeah, that's true.
I would get if I had to guess. But we have a lot of strikeouts, so
I know Judge is there. I know Judge.
Yeah.
Into the end of the week was like end of the year was hovering around 175.
oh, Alvarez, so good. So good.
Yes, he is.
5-5 game.
He's okay.
Really rooting for the Yankees here. I just want this to extend. I hate the Yankees, but I would just like an extension.
Donaldson 148, Judge 175, Stanton 137,
He didn't
Torres
play enough for
129.
200. Stanton didn't play enough for 200. That's the problem.
And he's had 450 at bats.
Really? Does he?
Looks
Plate
like
appearances.
1391. So Greg didn't have to read that off, and then see what the Phillies are. 1391, I think, total.
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Are
Are you going? You pulling it up?
Yeah, I'm going. Not that I didn't trust you. It was easy for where I was at.
Oh, I don't.
I just,
So,
I didn't trust him. I didn't.
I didn't trust him a bit.
I just had to switch teams. Phillies 1361. Is that a 2 strikeout difference? Or no, what I think? 1391? Oh yeah, 91. So you were
30.
right. 1391.
Oh, what did I say? So I was like right there. Like, what, they might strike out like 50, 60 less times? Okay.
30. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lot over that much. You know what I mean? It's pretty close. Yeah, I mean,
Screw up in the playoffs, get hurt. I mean, there it is. You can't give extra outs.
Did he just
Especially
get a
those
hit?
guys.
Did he just get a hit for you?
Alvarez?
Right? Yeah.
No. I'm just keep watching the replay.
I was like,
I am behind, but it's not. It's weird. It's just that's DirecTV. I've always been behind.
Yeah, he ain't going to see a strike that whole series from me, but that's just me. I don't throw him a pitch to hit the whole series.
But to your point, they probably are. It probably is even if Harper plays the whole year. Another 30 Ks. You know, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Give or take. Yeah.
You're not wrong there.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's nuts how it's right on.
True. I'd venture to guess our starters are better.
Yeah, because he only had 87. You know, he played the whole year. He's over a hundo.
Yeah.
I would think our starters are better. I don't know. It's not like the Yankees are bad, you know. They're not bad. Houston just owns them too.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? How long does this series go?
7.
And then we'll get out of here.
6.
It is.
Screw you, Don.
6, you think, right?
Yeah, 6.
All right. Yeah, I said 7 earlier.
Yeah, guys in 6.
That's where I've had both series, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Oh wow, Kenny Pickett. Oh, have a night, Kenny. The Dolphins Nation is celebrating. Was he out? It's because you're wearing 2 gloves, Kenny. You have no chance. Have you ever watched Teddy Bridgewater? Have you ever watched Teddy Bridge? Doesn't work.
And you're from Pitt. Like no Pitt quarterbacks are good.
Oh, he's in. What the hell? Unless he bobbled it, he's in. What's the discussion? Good night, Katie Bardadora. Thanks.
Sweeps, I really should just blame myself because I could easily have both games on because I brought the second TV up here, but I turned off the other TV. I really should play myself. It seems like I'm missing everything.
Ted, you're feeling real good, Ted. Wow.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I can't do it, man. Houston's too good.
That's incredible. Wow. God bless you.
They have a winning pedigree, so it's like it's hard to think you're just going to go beat them up.
How do you stand right there and call that no catch?
I know. Same.
Like the only thing you should be calling is whether it's a touchback or at the one. Unless did he not get that other foot down?
No, they're both in.
Kenny, that's a terrible pass, Kenny.
Damn you, Don. Damn you.
Well, listen, we can save Crumbs for the following week.
Yep.
If they're not going anywhere.
Nah. We touched on Bob Melvin, so.
And the Sixers. That was our crumb.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And the Padres song guys. Good talk.
Oh yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks. That worked out well for you guys.
Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the weather. You know what I mean?
Bryce is gonna lose, May's gonna cruise.
You know what's funny is I didn't listen to the video one time.
I've never heard it.
I've seen
Horrid.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen
Horrid.
it. Just never did the click. You know what I mean? Just never did the click.
You're lucky. I watched it too many times.
Yeah, I don't know why you would go back for more.
Yeah, I don't need it in my life. I'm good.
You would. You know what I mean? You would circle back.
You get down those rabbit holes. Come on, we all been there.
Yeah.
I'm not climbing in the rabbit hole to begin with. I'm not climbing in the first place.
Astros. Whoa. Bregman gives them the lead.
Wow.
Part of me wants to see. Go ahead, Tom.
No, God, say what you're going to say.
I was just saying, part of me wants this series to extend for like advantage, but part of me is like, Yankees getting swept. Okay, I can live with it. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, you hope that wears off for the Astros. You know what I mean? Like you hope them sweeping them, maybe. I don't know.
Swept Seattle, swept the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we could ease off on the sweeping here in the World Series.
Yeah, I'll take 5.
It might not. Listen, it feels good. Phillies are in the World Series.
We're in the World Series, mother effers.
It's crazy to say.
Oh,
we appreciate the Phillies this time of year. Finally giving that to us. We've been waiting. So let's see what we can do here. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it's fun.
6-5 Astros.
Hopefully it's fun. But next Friday night, we're ready to go. I can't wait. Hopefully we'll have all night games here so we can do away with the afternoon bullshit and really get our hands dirty in this. But we have a lot of momentum going in. Obviously, Houston will too if they hold on to win and sweep the series. But we should be feeling good about ourselves, and let's go win the whole damn thing.
We're here. Might as well.
Well, this has been Agree Disagree. Only on HUD Radio.
As Lou Brown said, only one thing left to do, Tommy. Win the whole fucking thing.
Fucking thing.
I love this British shit. I love this British shit.
Sweeps, you just gave me an idea, Sweep, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Last thing left to do. We're brought to you every Sunday by our doc. Make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill locations. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. One more thing. Sorry, just give me a second, guys.
Oh my God.
Baggio's bread. All right. Baggio's bread. Did I say that right, Sweet? Baggio's, right?
Yes, sir.
It's Baggio's. All right. Brand new sponsor to HUD Radio.
Let's go.
It's your one-stop shop for all your Italian specialties. Best of. Sorry. Let's do this again. It's my first read of it, right? You know what I mean?
Time, buddy. Listen, Phillies are in the World Series. Take your time. Places unbelievable. Places, the food speaks for itself. But hey, reset yourself. Reset your organs right there.
Baggio's bread. Your one-stop shop for all your Italian specialties. Best of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. And the big kicker, mention HUD Radio for 10% off. 10% off your in-store purchase. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Baggio's bread. Go check them out, guys. Go tell them HUD Radio sent you. And go get your beak wet. You know what I mean? You're going to be hearing a lot more of them from us. But we're always giving you.
I bet those meatballs are delicious.
I'm sure they are. Sure they are. But listen, we're the company of givers. and here we are giving you again. We're giving to you again because we're not just giving you a read. You know what I mean? We're giving you a read with discount codes during inflation. We're here freaking trimming the fat for you.
Great
We're trimming off the fat.
Sausage and peppers, great rolls, chicken cutlets, broccoli rabe. Oh my God!
Oh, good morning.
I feel myself getting fatter. I love it.
Madom, is that what you saying to that Madom?
Oh my God, these comments in the chat.
Oh, calm down, KZ. You know what I mean? Stream going to be full of ads soon. It ain't Barstool. We ain't selling out.
Tom, this is good though, because somebody said during our Super Bowl run back in 2017, oh my God, this is like when Wayne's World went corporate. Remember somebody said that? A2D, just like Wayne's World went corporate. This is a good omen.
I'm still sitting in the same fucking place. So, you know what I mean? I'm still sitting in the same place I was at. So, essentially. Yeah, so great show, boys.
Tom's World. Party
on!
Rhys Hoskins.
Caden on the way out. Dream all season. Get Turner and Rendon. This guy's you're a problem, Caden.
I'm off on Rendon.
Yeah, I'm good on Rendon. He probably just got hurt.
He got hurt. I was just talking about it.
Yeah. He heard his name. He was like, shit. There's a hammy.
There's another wrist injury.
Yeah, turn the 60-day IL.
Play that again. Rhys was on his way to Baggio's bread. Right there. Couldn't get there fast enough.
No, Sweeps. He's like, wait, sausage and peppers?
Roughly, Rob, I'm coming.
Did somebody say cannoli? Wait, 10% off?
We've got to use this for every time we do a read for them.
Baggio's bread. Located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Say it 2D, get 10% off.
Slide in safely at Baggio's bread.
Unless you're Rhys Hoskins.
No B. Willie tonight. For Greg Milakovic, Ryan Brodo, Nick DelGozzo.
Prayers to the Wilson's family.
I'm Tom Arnone. Prayers out to the big fella in his family. We love him. We'll see him on next week. And next week we'll be talking about being up 2-0 in the series. So can't wait for next Sunday. I say that we'll be down 2-0. We love you all. Thanks for tuning in. World Series fucking bound. Well, if you told me that in September, I'll punch you square in the face. I'll tell you, you're the biggest liar.
Tell me that last week and I'll punch you.
Get a bumper sticker. Get your bumper stickers. A2D bumper stickers. World Series bound.
Bumper stickers.
Talking about bumper stickers.
All right, we're out of here.